No.
Try this one.
Try and turn it off.
There's another purple one over here. Right here. There you go. I feel like we're playing Blue's Clues here. Over there. Behind you. Try the shiny one. There we go.
Oh, God. That one works. Oh, God.
Wow. Oh, there's enough of that.
Hey, Barney. You're a dork.
That's much better. Holy crap. Can you hear me in the back?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Huh?
Back.
Oh, the back.
Back. Back. That word is bouncing around. It's tripping me out. Totally freaking me.
Just saying.
Just Super Saiyan. Thank you, unabridged. So much better than evolution. Random thoughts on evolution.
Oh, God.
Of course it sucked. Here's my random thought. If I was casting that movie, and I was casting Pickle, wow, nice mic technique, Scott. Think about this. Would you not just spray paint Vin Diesel green? Sounds like it's perfect. John David, you're killing my shtick. All right.
God, you'd have to shake that head.
Instead of getting what's his pickle from what's his. Yes. I am a goddamn Yoshi. For years, people were going to Santa and go like, I'm looking for my car. It's out in the parking lot next to the Pinto. It's the Dodge. What's your favorite candy? Nerds. Why are they saying this? Finally, somebody went, you need to watch this. Now I'm, now I get it. That's funny. That's funnier than our show. Is there?
So I need you to do something.
This is how it starts. That?
Turn down for what, Piccolo?
What do you got? What do you want?
Say turn down for what, Piccolo?
Somebody tell me to turn down. Turn down for what? Housekeeping, do you want me to turn down your bed? Turn down for what? I'm afraid we can't hire you in this job. We're going to have to turn you down. Turn down for what? I could go on.
Should go.
Please do.
Sweet Jesus. I want to watch TV. Does it have to do something magic to make it work?
I'm a cucumber. I'm a cucumber. Ain't no cake to do the pickle.
You know how many years I've gone without having to sing that? That was one of those things, like that wasn't me, but somebody went, can you sing the pickle jar or the pickle song? I'm like, what the hell is the pickle song? They go, I'm a pickle song. I was like, okay, I'm a cucumber. Please don't dance break. I think somebody animated it and it became a thing. So now I've sung the cucumber, but somebody did give me a pickle jar with piccolo in it, so now I'm in the pickle jar. Traveling sales ponies on parade. For me, All right. It's because, seriously? We're going back to the origins. Represent old school. I'm gonna go up on this thing. Normally I don't like going up on this thing because I feel all weird and separate.
We can all join.
But I am wearing
We can all
the
join.
world's most awesome jacket. So I'm gonna go up here. Let's see what we got. We got cheddar and bacon spray cheese. We got cheddar spray cheese. We got America! Cookie spray cheese! Here to save the mom, number one!
Oh my God!
Rewrite.
Oh my God, presents.
Werther's original, human bile.
Look at the flavor.
Oh, ha, ha, ha. Green apple, yeah, because he's a green apple.
Green apple.
That's really funny. Yeah, I've never been called green before. Real little Klondike bars. Okay. Shit is getting good up here. Oh, you didn't put air holes in for the puppy. Yeah, we have a situation. Werther's original. Greatest candies ever made, and last but certainly not least. That is so fun.
Good one, brother. I have a gift as well.
Did I ever tell you the real story about Wolverine?
No.
Well, Big dangling piddle butts! It's a grumpy bear cake! Oh my God, you know what? We're all going to eat this together later on. Spray cheese. Thank you, that's genius. Like, I'm scared to, like, I don't want, you know, how do you eat something? It's like, there's some beautiful artwork, I think I'm going to stuff it in my face. That is exactly why I got kicked out of the Louvre in France.
Every wedding cake ever.
The Mona Lisa. It's actually a bomb. Explode and throw shrapnel and probably take out the front half of the aircraft. Sweet, exploding food, thank you. Wow. That is the most bad. So, Wolverine. He's been played by a lot of people, Steve Bloom, myself, a bunch of others. I have spent time in northern Alberta, where Wolverine is from. Stereotypes come from a place and a reason. People don't walk around in northern Alberta going, all right, bub, don't make me get all Canadian in your mind. People in northern Alberta, you give a Canadian in northern Alberta one drink of rye whiskey, fucking instant, man, I'll frickin' pound your eight now, man. You wanna fucking go? Fucking schnick, man, I'm telling you. Holy crap, I'll frickin' pound you, man. That's the real Wolverine. That bit usually goes over better. And well segued from my world's favorite artist. Cat. Hat. In French is chaton chapeau. In Spanish is el gato. In a sombrero. This is so amazing. You freak me out every year. I have one of your pieces hanging up in my house. True story, Rosie, where are you? True? True story. It's hanging up in my dining room.
You still have it?
Oh yeah. You're amazing, thank you. It's the Duo Maxwell one with the tattoo and I will make you this promise. I will be the god of death once again. But right now, I need a sheep. Oh wait. All right, we're gonna slowly work ourselves up to something really cool to eat.
Wait. Cheesy cookies.
Well, that's how it started. It's the... Yes. Thank you. Do I look badass now? I said, do I look badass?
Come on.
I can whack you with my magic wand. We don't want to get you. All right, I think we're all in. If we can close down the steel gates on the doors and pump in the interesting gas, we're ready to start. Soon as you listen to my voice, you will imagine deep and relaxed. You will find all of your childhood worries and cares drifting slowly away, along with most of your personality. Sweet. You guys are killing me with kindness, man.
All you need is the pillow. All you need is love.
I love that. The sign. Okay. Hey, ass butt.
Just saying.
Just super sad.
Another gift.
This rapidly becomes my favorite part of this convention. Because if you all are familiar with Momo's work, Momo is like one of my heroes. Because Momo knows that I like ducks. Momo has made me some of the coolest ducks in the world. It is! Everyone wants sushi back. This is a small blob of crime-fighting wasabi duck. And this. You'll appreciate this. It's an evil masked figure duck. Momo, thank you. She's made for me the past Wolverine. There's an actual Scott McNeil duck, which is badass. The tattoo is perfect. Everything is. Thank you. I'll be hugging on the way down. Okay, screw it. I'm hugging now.
Okay, that's enough of that.
Turtle, pass it down. What do I pass it? Guys, pass it forward, I guess.
That was the creepiest sounding thing I've ever heard in my life. Honest to God, that was worse than my first night in prison.
I'm sorry.
Would you like to put your hand in this pillow? What is what did stop it?
It's not.
Feeling soup.
That wasn't me. That was down there. Down there, I have no
This is
idea.
like pulling out
Down
a
there.
fortune from a fortune
Down
cookie.
there.
Wow. That is super deep, man. Everybody's passing along, too. It's like, you notice that? There's like this wave of guilt.
Who started it?
This is cool. Like, this is eventually going to go through the room, then out the door, around the whole convention. And then eventually, next year, maybe the year after, will work its way back, and somebody will come up and go, it was me. Feeling so good in many things. That was me. Oh my God.
How many more?
Sophia. Sophia. This is amazing. Oh my God. I will confess, I saw this on Facebook. Yeah, and I went, oh my God, but you know, a picture of it this big does not convey. Wow. If you guys get a chance before we break out of here, come up and take a close look at this thing. It is unbelievable. Wow.
That's part of the convention.
It's gotta be a crowded convention, I feel like soon.
heroes. Awesome. Damn. Wow. Oh my God, you guys are brilliant. There's so much talent in this room. Now, okay, now what? Well, you can't activate your hormones. We are all learning so much together. So much. Do not upset your hormones. Feeling soup. I think we've pumped in enough of the special gas. Y'all can turn off the vents now. Thank you. There's a man quacking for attention. You people are very strange. Yes, we're going to question and answer because I'm just getting weird up here now.
I was trying to say.
I bent down earlier, now I am so Thor. Wow, not even a groan. You people disappoint me.
I just got it. Oh my God.
Did I do it wrong? No. Yes.
I never really got it.
Didn't you used to be taller?
Right?
Whoa! Jesus. The hell?
I never got a different answer. I wanted to do a toast with you, and that's great.
Oh, and then we will toast in spray cheese.
Okay.
It will come.
All right.
All right, we will, I promise. All right, we're going to try to move on to things non-food related now. Spray cheese isn't food, technically, so you're right. All right, you know what, I'm going to get this shit over with. Okay, I'm improvising with what I've got here.
You get I'll take American.
No, I can't have bacon cheddar, I don't eat pig. But I'm going, because I've already done spray cheese and Klondike bar. I did spray cheese and Twinkie last year.
This is
Spray, yeah.
Spray cheese and cookies.
Why don't fans
It's all
understand
about
that?
like, I want to do like spray cheese on my cake or something weird.
Spray cheese on cookie berries.
That's true.
Spray cheese and Scooby snacks.
All right, let's play these drinks.
Snacks must not be defined.
Choose your weapon. Me, I'm going with cheddar because it's fast and effective.
There you go.
Oh, it's about that now. Now it's about America.
America! America! America!
Well done.
Draw your weapon.
Oh God.
Oh, Jesus.
That's really good. I told you the first time I did that down here, I went and slammed a big mouthful of spray cheese in. That was when I discovered a basic rule of physics. I believe it's Boyle's law of gases under pressure, heat, and humidity.
Don't worry, I did not put my mouth on.
Thank you. Not factoring in the heat and humidity of Florida, it basically went. That's kind of badass.
So many people.
Big time.
So much love.
You big boy.
So much love.
That's cool as hell. It's too hot for leather jacket. Trust me.
It's already too hot for this thing.
Okay. So I'm Scott, and I'm an. No, wait, that's a different meeting. Yeah, this would be great to work to an AA meeting. Good. Congratulations on your 1-year cake. I put rum in it. We're all going to have the same birthday next year. Oh my God, you guys are amazing. Okay, I'm going back up.
Can I assume the throne?
I would raise you out of New York and my head.
I want you to take your penny.
You know, I'm allowed to think that. You're not allowed to say it. I'm just saying. I want the whole room doing that by the end of this, you know that. Oh my God, I'm sweating balls up here.
I don't see any.
Why do we have to
I'll
get
make you cry, man.
You can't take it back.
Scott sideways really quickly. It's like, is this the over 18 unplugged panel? It's like, it is now. Once Scott took his pants off, it all went silent. So I'm Scott, I'm a voice actor. Welcome to this panel. All of you awesome people. I do know who you are. I can't get over this, like, just, oh my God.
Homage to the Scott.
What? You're rocking like some
Paying tribute.
badass sideways.
Maybe I would have waited for the pillow.
This is
Never
so
going to shave them.
ever. When you're 90, there'll just be these curtains of fur trailing behind you. So what are they? They're my sideburns. Don't question me.
What's under
I'm
the hat, though?
104. I can wear what I want. What day of the year on the party calendar is September 19th? Thank you. Just checking. Yar. What's a pirate's favorite musical note? The high C. I had a really filthy pirate joke, but I'm not going to tell it. So do you know what? Honestly, I just completely bluff. Oh, look who decides to come waltzing in late. You don't call, you don't write. You could have been bleeding in a ditch. Your mother and I would worry sick about you. It's okay, we'll just wait for you to wander in at your own time. Oh, please, don't rush on our account. The whole rest of the plane is waiting to sit down, but you take your time putting your shit in the overhead bins. We don't mind. Guess what, people who fly? Know your seat, find your seat, sit in your seat. Sorry, that was me editorializing for just a moment. I wonder how loud I could get. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the captain and myself, I'd like to thank you for joining us today. No, I had bid for that last year, but nothing weird happened on my flight. Usually when I'm flying into Tampa, something happens. I've been hit by lightning. Last year we were like, so? I don't think so. Thank you for flying with us. Once we scrape your brains and guts off the ceiling, well, we smugly say we did remind you to keep your seatbelts on at all times. When the burning wreckage finally comes to a halt. Wow. So I have nothing prepared because I have no idea what I'm doing. So if you guys have questions, hopefully I will have some sort of, if not answer, at least someone.
Improv!
What?
Improv!
Improv. I heard, you won't believe what I heard when you said improv. I heard it was like, get. It's like, wow. Where did the love go? That was fast. Man, I've dated women like you. It's just, I had to bam. Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
My life is improv. Does anyone hear the time I climbed through the hole in the wall? Because I think it was in that wall there. Yes.
What would Waspinator sound like if he were Canadian?
Australian, like. Oh my God, the question.
I don't know how many hockey jokes I can do in Florida.
Chicken person walking around in frozen north, some drunk Canadian come up all, ooh, you wanna frickin' pound you, schnitt. What's gonna sting your ass? Eh?
By the way, Terrence and Philip have New Hampshire accents, not Canadian, just for the record. Although we do like farting on each other. Because it's cold. Melts down the first layer of water in the igloos and then it refreezes. It's insulative. We are saved by the buoyancy of citrus. Why am I so much? Chedberg. You're gonna have a good question, which is gonna make me think and do stuff.
So, with all this shit you have on stage, have you ever gotten stopped at the airport?
I am classified as an international weapons smuggler because of a one of those pointed, like three-jointed armor rings that somebody gave me at a con, a little $5 ring. So I got a 4-hour raping by Canadian Customs, a $750 fine, and a 7-year criminal record. So every time I fly home, one of the reasons I don't do a lot of cons is I go through 4 hours of customs every time I re-enter my own country. Bienvenue, Canada. That's why Wolverine's so goddamn angry. We're polite people, but we invented hockey fighting. So yeah, this stuff, they're kind of used to me now because I have to go and they're like, Scott, you know, we go just like, I know. Just bite the pillow and think of the Queen. So they don't even ask anymore. They're just like, you know, we got to go through your stuff. I'm like, so spray cheese. You were down in Florida this time. Yes, I was. Did they give you Scooby snacks? Yes, they did. They seem like nice people. They are. All right. Up yours. Welcome back to Canada. This is mine. So these are good techniques to get Scott's attention. Either hold up shinies, shiny squirrel boobies. What? Rocking back and forth is good. Squawking like a chicken is good. Yes. And you know what? I'm just gonna rate out there because you know how bad I am with names. So at this point, I'm just gonna be going. Yes, you. You know I do, but it's just like what? What you got? Oh, good, more food. Okay, I'm gonna see if I have the delicate hands of a surgeon here.
No, you're not gonna want her on it, no. Would you like a spoon?
Maybe cheese whiz table tastes good.
I'm getting there.
What do you do?
We gave them mint chocolate chip and caramel candy bars and Klondike.
Bring on the glucose meter.
I'm gonna eat spray cheese off of your back. I don't know how to do this. There's just no weird way to eat this. So I'm just gonna like secondary spray cheese this, and we're gonna do this instead.
It's already weird that you say
Spray cheese central.
I could make this into sculpture, but it would be really obscene. All right, warm up, finale. That may be the worst thing I've ever eaten in my life. You know what? The spray cheese and Twinkie was pretty much tasting like ass as well. I know.
What is with that?
What's better than bacon? Bacon is the secret ingredient to life and everything.
Yes,
It does. It does. It has the essence of bacon. I don't know. You could have it on a Scooby snack.
Yes.
No.
When I'm not able to eat due to dietary restrictions, spray cheese.
Just said that. Wow, okay, so he hasn't gone to bed yet. Oh, sweet delirium. That's good. That's great. Everybody had a good night? We had a good night? What was going on last night? Disney sing-along.
Disney sing-along.
I can show you the shining ship. Oh man, what Aladdin did. Do you guys know, who's old enough to remember Aladdin being in the theaters?
Oh, no.
Do you know that was one of the first movies to still be in theaters when it came out on video? Yeah. It ran for almost a solid year in the theater. It was crazy. And Disney's known for their moratorium. It's like, this will be on DVD 10 years from now. Like, Aladdin is still not on iTunes. Like, you can't find it. It did its original VHS and maybe DVD release like 10 years ago or whatever, 15. Oh, God. 20, I thought in 2013 it would have been the 20th anniversary of Aladdin. And it's still not out. Like, Lion King is out, everything. That's one of my favorite, like, I fell asleep to that movie. No. I fall asleep watching movies, and especially I love falling asleep to like animated stuff. Atlantis, perfect to go to sleep to. It's great. It's underwater. It's cool. I love that. Yeah. And I totally freaked out the first time I met Cree Summer. I was like, "Huh? You're Kita." She's yeah. Can you sign it? No. So anyway, good morning, guys. Thank you for showing up. And here are the executives of your doom walking in. They'll be murdering all of you. Remember, guys, we're polite when we kill. Thank you. Not like last time. So many words. It's like Hello Kitty meets Daft Punk. It's great. I was waiting for this though. If you were here yesterday. So what are we going to talk about today, guys? We're supposed to be talking about last episode of Bioshock, right? Yeah, right. It's kind of hard not to. Man, I remember I was doing a really bad movie in 2007, January of 2007. And it was like literally 18 degrees in Dallas. And the movie was just terrible. And we knew it was going to be terrible, but you're kind of like in it. It's like if the Titanic had pulled away from the gangplank and someone goes, "It's gonna sink!" And you're like, "Well, I can't." You want it, right? So you're polishing the brass as it's going down. But I'm doing this movie, and a buddy of mine, I'd moved to LA at the time, and I was back for this, and I said, I'm just dying on set. He goes, "Well, I'll tell you what, how about I get this, the PS3 just came out, fall of 2006. And he goes, "I'll tell you what, I'll let you borrow the PS3, and there's this game that I want you to play. You've got to play it. It's really cool. It's called Uncharted." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, thanks for the PS3, dude." And so he gave it to me, and I did exactly what any good friend should do. I went to Blockbuster Video, and I rented Assassin's Creed. Played the ever-loving piss out of that game, and beat it, and I didn't platinum it or anything, but I did just, because getting through it was just enough. Yeah, I accomplished that. There's your friend over there. He's waving back. There you go. I got you. That's amazing, by the way. Yes, the gender swapped Booker and Elizabeth. Booker catch. That's great. It was a fantastic little sidebar. We were walking outside, and there were Booker and Elizabeth from Infinite met Booker and Elizabeth from Burial at Sea, and they're just like, "Oh!" And they touched hands, and it was like then the universe exploded. Always a lighthouse, and that's where the heroin is. That's where the meth is. It's great and bad culture. So I finished Assassin's Creed, and I look over at this lonely disc that's sitting there, and this is Uncharted, and I'm like, yeah. And changed my life. I finished the game, and I was like, that's why aren't there more things like this? That's incredible. And I emailed the sound department of Naughty Dog, who later I would actually meet. He goes, "You were the one that sent that email?" I just listen. I just want to say what you guys did was fantastic. And I never said I'm an actor. I want to do anything for you. I just want to let you know that what you accomplished was brilliant. And thank you for such a wonderful experience. And when I started finally getting into doing more games, I remember they were doing Uncharted 2. And I was working on some game at Technicolor, and there's 2 studios, and they were right down the hall, and they were recording all the in-game VO and everything. And I remember just like peeking in through that one small sliver of window and just being, "Red shirt." All I wanted to do was die in the game. And cut to a few years later, I get an audition for a new game, codenamed T1, and character's name is Joel, and it's Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving, actually. I'm driving down to my friend's parents' house. We're gonna have Thanksgiving dinner, and I'm on the phone with my agent, and I am pissed because I see the breakdown of the character. I'm like, okay, so I finally get in front of Naughty Dog, and the character I'm going to audition for is like in his 40s, and this is like right after Final Fantasy, so I had like, you know, Shinbiga Tensai hair. I mean, it was crazy bleach blonde, and that's for me probably. And I was so angry. I was like, why would you put me in front of these people? And so I look at the material and it's like, I've got to find a way that I can connect myself to this, because even if I don't get it, I got to show them that I'm good, because then maybe they'll hire me to be one of the guys that Nate shoots off of a building. And I go in there, and I read this one thing in the audition sides, and maybe if you were here yesterday you heard this. I say this a lot, but there's one line, on an audition side typically you get like an artist concept drawing of the character, and for this it was, I don't know if you remember, it's kind of that picture of him kind of looking a lot like, what's the character's name? Shane West, the guy that's in Salem now, and whatever, he looked a lot like that guy. And green shirt, jeans, and it says, you know, he's 6 foot. Every video game character, every character model is built at 6 or 6'1". For some reason, that's just like the universal height of men. So he's like great, taller than that. Brown hair, green eyes, and then a blurb. I don't even think it says he's from Texas. And there's this one line that says he has few moral lines left to cross. Few moral lines left to cross. Wow, what does that mean? And you start asking yourself questions. And then the audition scene was, and this is on the remaster thing, I think, my audition. What's great is that I look up and I see this walking down the... No, I blush, and then it's, I feel like we're closer now because I'm not at a very anatomical level.
Sorry, I'm gonna sit down right now.
Oh, you're awesome. So many jokes going through my head right now. Every single one of them is terrible. How old are you? Okay, I can tell some of them. So anyway, I won't. They're all terrible. They're all just terrible. Where was I? Audition. So the scene is, it was written specifically, Neil has a tendency to do this, he writes scenes specifically for the audition. It works better mechanically, it's better to, you know, get through it quickly, or in this scene, when we finally get there, there's going to be more people in this scene, but right now we just auditioning with 2 people. We've already cast Ashley, and so I'm reading with her. And it was a scene where, there was 2 scenes. One of them was, she almost gets killed because she's trying to save her Walkman. And, which scene's never in there, but it was actually this really, really cool scene. And it was just this really great moment. And for some reason I found, like this voice just came through, and I just understood who he was. He was this guy. And we get through with it. And the first thing I did when I walked in, I saw Ashley. Never met her before, knew who she was. I walked in, I was like, she looked like she had just been through hell. Like, you gotta understand, you do an entire movie, and especially with the intensity of these scenes, of guys screaming at you. And it's not like, well, that was fun. She was just, you could see her putting on the smile. She's like, I was like, can I just give you a hug? She goes, yes. And so I gave her a hug, and it was like literally, and I was like, oh, I'm Troy. She's like, I'm Ashley. And it was just instant. I was like, I love this girl. And I love Ashley so much. And it becomes crucial when you're doing a game like this. You can't fake that. You can't fake, and that's not anything to my credit. If anything, it's to Ashley's credit for being such a warm and open person. But the relationship that Ashley and I have was forged through fire of that game, because we got really vulnerable and really open and naked. Because you bare your soul. Because when it's not working for you, when the scene isn't working, that's very humbling, and that's very, in certain light, humiliating, because you're not good enough. You can't make it work, and you're sitting in that with somebody else, and nuts. I'm just ADD, so I hear like anything, I'm like, what? So, the relationships, both inside and outside, trusting your director. I mean, here comes Neil Druckmann, worked on Uncharted 2. I mean, he's been with Naughty Dog for over 10 years, and so he's worked on Uncharted 1, Uncharted 2, started doing Last of Us when they were doing Uncharted 3, so that's how long that thing was in production. And we started off with one director, and then we decided to make a philosophical choice. It had nothing to do with the director at all, that we needed to have it needed to have its own voice, and so he started looking around for different directors, and then finally it just became obvious. He was like, dude, why don't you just do this? And Neil Druckmann went to acting classes, he went to directing classes, he read books. That man put himself through boot camp to make sure that he was prepared. And he's such an amazing guy, and such an amazing director. Like, the guy just gets it. Like, and people say, well, you should do film then. Why? It's easier. It's a completely different job. Like, the director on the film and a director on a video game are so night and day. They really need to come up with new titles. Grandmaster of the Universe, that out, maybe that works better. But Neil did an amazing job, and he took us to places that we didn't know that we could go. And that leaves an indelible mark on your heart when someone brings the best out of you that you didn't even know existed. And everybody should find a Neil. Everybody should find a Neil. It doesn't mean they're a director. It just means that there's somebody in your life that sees something in you that you can't even see, that their sole purpose and intention is to pull that out of you and show it to you, and then showcase it. And there's a Neil for everybody. Huh. There's a Neil for everybody in this room. It could be your dad, your mom, brother, your sister, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, random stranger. Be careful. Neil. Oh, you're drunk. Not wearing any pants. For some reason, it's Gary Busey is your Neil. So find your Neil, find your Ashley, find your Ellie. Find out what your purpose is. At the same time, we're doing Bioshock. And I walked into that audition, completely different thing, ironically back in Technicolor. And they're cycling people through. And it's a small community. A lot of times, some games will reach outside the normal spectrum, and they're auditioning people. You're like, you're on an episode of Arrow. Or I've seen you on CSI as the dead guy on the table. Because we want to branch out to TV, get some TV actors instead of just these normal actors. Okay, the TV actors suck. Let's go and bring in the normal actors today. Not all the time. I mean, I've met some fantastic people that really love breaking into W. Earl Brown, who played Bill in Last of Us. He's like, I'm a gamer, I eat this shit up, it's amazing. Then we go over to Bioshock, and it's like cycling through people, and you're sitting there, I mean, this close to Yuri Lowenthal, you know, and it's like, good luck, you know. And they're Troy go in with Emily, okay, Emily go in with Yuri, okay, Yuri go in with Emily, and it's like, you know, all this back and forth, and finally it's like, okay, Troy, you go in with Courtney. Okay. And so Ken is this talking head on a Skype screen, and he's back in Boston. hey, Courtney and I just start reading with each other, and Ken's like, okay, we've lost our Skype connection. Give us a second, because Skype always works perfectly. Because hang on, we're gonna reset, and we'll come back and we'll do another run. And I look at Courtney, she's just 1K completely blank. Just, I was like, are you okay? She's just, yeah. Hi, how are you? Like, are you good? And she's like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I have no idea what I'm doing. Not like she didn't know what she was doing, like on like a emotional level or whatever, or like in life, like philosophically. But she was like, I just, what do they want from me? I thought this was gonna be like we're gonna move around, and I'm just, they want me to stand here, but they want me to act with you. I don't know what's happening. I was like, it's cool. Just talk to me. Let's just talk to each other. And she's like, yeah, but I don't know these lines. I was like, I change almost every word in every script. I'm terrible. Writers hate me. I just burped just then, if you guys didn't know that. Is that a stroke that I had just there? It's like when somebody has to yawn, but they don't. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, you've been drinking all night, and they still feel embarrassed to yawn. And you're like, yeah, man, that's great. No, the story's incredibly compelling. Tell me about the time you were in 3rd grade. It's like trying to hold in a sneeze, man. Sometimes you just gotta go, hang on. She blocked it out. Our yawn sounded like that. And then we would always think that like Chewie was the sleepy dwarf. It was nice. I don't know where we're going with this. Anyway, we down tangents. So Courtney comes in and we just start having this conversation, and then it just, that conversation grew and grew and grew, and to watch her come out of her shell and really invest herself fully, and good God, man, does she not have to go for it? Such an emotional role. I mean, it was like, if you're not crying, you're yelling. Or being very quiet and introspective. And so it's just like, Ken made that girl jump through hoops, and by the end of it, she was doing pirouettes and flips through it. It was crazy. So anyway, I could go on and talk about this for days, but do you guys have questions about it? I have to answer. Yeah, in the back, what's up? Or the middle section.
The Last of Us, where the ending, alternate ending, when you guys are in the... What came across your mind the moment she breaks out the song?
Literally, and you can see this if you watch the scenes, the Grounded video. Everyone's like, "Oh, you look like you got caught." I was like, my literal thought was, "Damn, she can sing." Because I mean, she had been on Broadway, she was in Rent, so I mean, I knew that she could sing, but I didn't know she could sing. And she just, you know. I was like, oh my God. And then, this is literally happening like this fast. I went, wow, she can sing. Oh, I see what they're doing here. Watch this shit. And I just and what's hilarious is, and you can kind of catch a brief thing, Ashley for some reason wasn't there. Because I don't think she was originally supposed to be shooting that day. We just had to get this one quick pickup with me, and they were like, I want to get this. But Ellie is supposed to be on the table. We can use Les. Les Ismore was our stunt double, but he's a mannequin. But he looks, I mean, he's in a suit, and he weighs like, 130 pounds or whatever, 120 pounds. But he looks like a person, and in acting, less is more. Does that make sense? So his name is Les Ismore. And they were like, well, we could use Les. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of weird. He's big, and it'll get weird data, and I feel weird about in this emotional scene. And that day, my wife, first time ever, had decided, hey, can I come to set? I know this is your last day, or one of your last days. Can I come to set and just watch and take pictures? She's an amazing photographer. She's in Africa right now. It's crazy. So I was like, that'd be awesome, yeah, and take these great pictures. And so he's like, I mean, we need someone who's about Ashley's height, and I was like, oh no. and Neil's like, Bill, who's our first AD, goes, Bill, do we have a suit that would, no, we have a suit that would fit her? And Sarah gets surprised, she's like, guys, I really don't have to. And so my wife got to get into a mocap suit and do the rums, and that's who's laying on the table during that entire thing. Oh, sweet, yes. But if you watch, it looks like she is having a fit because she's trying so hard not to break and laugh and ruin the thing because she's laughing her ass off at this thing that's happening above her. So she just sitting there. It's so great. But yeah, I mean, that's just, it was such a heavy shoot, you know, there were very few scenes that were like, we were having fun in between stuff, and we certainly had our fair share of laughs, but nothing like that, and it was just great. I love that thing so much, and the original goal was to actually fully animate it, and either leak it or put it on the disc as a DVD, but I know. And then they did this crazy thing where they're like, we need to finish the game. So we're not wasting hundreds of thousands of dollars, whatever. But I'm still holding out hope that somehow someone will take that and fully animate that, because you kind of want to see it, you know. And then there's talks that somebody wants to take it to Broadway and do The Last of Us the musical. We are clickers. Be fantastic. Anyway, next question. Red shirt.
So, in the recent age of video gaming, there's been this bridge of video gaming breaking into cinematic that you and Nolan have been a huge part of. Where have you had to change your presentation, your acting style, as well as what have you seen from the video game creator standpoint that has changed?
You're too smart. It's evolved, and it's like a tree. If you're not growing, you're dying. And yeah, absolutely. It's not that I changed my presentation, it's just that I allow, hopefully, I'm open enough to learn something from every experience.
What have you brought to it that you've had to change from previous experiences?
You have to understand story. Like I've really had to learn about story, about character, what that means, making decisions and understanding why that character is making that decision. It's no longer just, oh, you have a cool voice. It's understanding posture and where is this character led from. And the trap is that you can get caught up in all that. You can get caught up in the Meisner technique of acting, as opposed to just the basis of all of it is listening, just listen. And games are going more cinematic, but that's just the most appropriate or most convenient term for it. Because it's not just cinematic. Because yes, there are cinematic elements that we're putting into it, but it's connective tissue within an incredibly immersive and emergent thing. So that movie always stays in its one place. Games, I mean, they're throwing you around everywhere. It's like, you don't know when you're gonna have control back. Used to before you got that black bar, and now that camera just swings back around and you're in it. So I think that what you have to do is you have to constantly allow yourself to evolve and understand the medium that you're occupying it, not try to pigeonhole into one thing. Nolan is such an incredibly gifted actor, and when you watch that man flex, not like this, but when he did David in The Last of Us, I mean, damn. It was so compelling to watch, even in that ridiculous suit, in that blank stage. But he's just so good, man. He's so good. And he is the giant upon whose shoulders we are standing. I mean, he paved the way for a lot of us, first of all, for the story element of a game to be taken seriously. And obviously that's been leading up. The narrative is no new thing. It didn't come out with Uncharted. But that's one of the first games that people stood up and took note and go, wait, ooh, this is just, remember the commercials for Uncharted 2, where the girlfriend comes with a bowl of popcorn, she's like, okay, I'm ready to watch the movie, and the guy's playing Uncharted 2, and I'm like, haha. Except now it'd be like the guy becoming and going, okay, I'm ready to watch the movie, and the girl's like, you're annoying. Okay, go away. So yeah, you just evolve. Don't try to make it into one thing, but I hope I answered your question right. It's a very thought-provoking question. It's 10:30 a.m. Right side, we'll see my right side people go up. Girl, back here. Between vigor or gun? Yes? I actually got, the name is escaping me right now, but it's the one shoot. It's the, not a sniper rifle necessarily, but what's it called? Carbine, thank you. Carbine, I'm a sniper, so that was, I like the carbine, and what sucks is, spoiler for everybody. Not the bad fact that it sucks, but it doesn't suck. Shut up, quiet. The one vigor that I did not max out was Undertow. Not my favorite, didn't like it. I like Murder of Crows, was my jam. Possession, I mean, that was amazing. Except for the fact that, talking to the designers, they go, oh yeah, we really made it to where the two vigors you needed to use on that last airship battle were Possession and Undertow. So I ended up doing this when I got to multiple attempts. And anybody who's like, I played on 1999, but when I beat it the first time, go, no. I literally was this with my controllers going, I couldn't do it. It drove me batty. Because you've got, just everything is happening. It's just a full frontal assault. And you really need Undertow to be able to, yeah. So, Murder Crows, carbine rifle, or Possession, and the big machine gun. Of course, there's nothing greater though. I'm a melee guy, and there's just something so good about getting that sky hook into somebody's face. It's one shot, one kill. It's just, and it never gets old. Just every time they look at that look on their face where they see it coming, they blink right before, like, ah! So good. Skyhook. Good question. All the way in the back, purple shirt.
You could voice act in any video game.
None. I'd rather act. Oh. Oh shoot. Okay. Okay. That's my sister back there doing that. Oh. Damn, boy, he just put you in your place. That was amazing. That was great. Here's the thing. It's not that any gig that you get is amazing, and like from a technical voice acting standpoint, like what we do on Avengers every Wednesday is just us doing radio plays. What they've been doing for the last 70 years, 80 years. And even if they stop paying us and stop making the show, we've all made a pact that we're just going to keep coming back on Wednesdays because we have so much fun. Which, by the way, Roger Craig Smith, who plays, of course, Batman and Arkham Origins, and also plays our Captain America, please follow him on Twitter, and please look at his... You're out? Okay. Settle down. I'll shoot. There is an IRS tax scam that's going on right now where people from the Tax Crime Division of the IRS Department Bureau building, stupid, are trying to scam people out of money. And they made the mistake of calling one Roger Craig Smith. And Jerky Boys, fantastic. Crankacres, hilarious. Roger Craig Smith, I peed myself. He calls them 4 different times, and like put one thing. They're like, "Do you have your case number?" He goes, "Yes, it's H as in hoax, A as in a-hole." He just goes on there like, "What is your phone number?" He's like, "It's area code 911. Okay, 911. So he takes a piss of them. And like 13 minutes. Each clip is one's like 6, one's like 8, and the last one is 13 minutes. He played, and he's like, he ends up like, he goes, hey, hang on, let me transfer you over, because they keep transferring him. He's like, let me transfer you over to my grandfather. And so, hello. And it's like, hey man, I'm going to transfer you over to Hector. He's like, hello, this is Hector. I mean, it is. Last night, I couldn't breathe. I was laughing so hard. So anyway. So I mean, the voice acting thing is I just want to act, you know, and that's, I want to get rid of the qualifier. It's just acting. It's not like, hey man, Brad Pitt does some really good face acting. Just some really good hand acting. It's just, you're just acting. And sometimes you use one tool, sometimes you use another, sometimes you use this tool. But I don't know, man. It's whichever job I'm fortunate enough to get. All I want to do is make it the best that I can be, and learn something from it. Because a lot of people ask, you know, how do you do this? What are your successes? And I don't know what I've learned more. Like my successes have taught me nothing. Because I'm still at the end of it, I'm going, I don't know how I did that. You're like, oh my God, that was amazing. I was like, I don't know what I did. Don't tell me, because I don't want to screw it up. Don't make me aware of it. It's my failures that have taught me. And it's my failures that I've said, okay, I'll never do that again. that was a bad decision, or that was a bad performance, or that was a bad choice. Whatever it is, so it's not your successes that teach you, but rather your failures. So don't be afraid of your failures, be grateful for your failures, because those are the teachers that you learn from the most. Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. I was having a conversation with, this is a good segue into this, we'll get into another question. I'm going to tell a quick story. I was having a dinner with Mary Elizabeth last night, who I just loved so much, and she did so great last night, if you guys were at the concert thing. It's so funny how pedestrian our life can be, or appear, and then we find out that what's actually happening is life is preparing you for something that you're not even aware that's about to happen. My dog died, and that morning, the end of our block, there's this, God? Darth Vader is like, attack now. So at the end of our block, a producer lives there, and this is really cool guy. I agree. The story, I swear to God. And my dog, his best friend, his first best friend was this Jack Russell named Jack. And we could never walk past their house without him stopping. And like, Jack died like 2 years before that, and Buckley, my dog, sat at their front gate and just waited for Jack, because Jack would always come to the front gate, and he wouldn't leave, like I had to pull him away. So we always had to stop by Jack's house. And so I'm talking to this producer, and he goes, have you ever heard the parable of the Chinese farmer? I was like, this is a joke? Like, wait, you're about to tell me it's a joke? Or, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And so he starts telling me this thing. He says that one day a Chinese farmer is out working his land, and into his pasture this black stallion comes in. And all the villagers go, oh, what good fortune you have. Now you have this stallion, you can stud him out, you'll be a wealthy man, you're financially set. And he says, we shall see. And the next day he puts his son up on the black stallion to teach him how to ride. And the stallion's too wild, and it bucks him off, and the boy falls to the ground and shatters his leg, and the doctor says he'll never walk the same again. And all the villagers say, what poor fortune you have. This stallion comes in, and now your son, his leg is broken. The farmer says, we shall see. And then the next day, the general of the army comes to the village. The country is at war, and he's requesting all able young men to fight for their country. And the boy can't fight because of his leg. So he moves on to the next village. And all the villagers say, oh, what good fortune you have, because surely your son would have gone to war and died, but now I can't. And the farmer says, we shall see. So on and on and on it goes. And I said, what's the point? He goes, there is no good, there is no bad, there just is. And if you think in your feeble human mind that you have the ability to discern between what is good for you or what is bad for you, you missed it. Cool, thanks. And then 4 hours later, I went through something that was just horrific. And temptation would be to say what poor fortune I have. But out of that moment, out of the tragedy and horror, something was birthed inside of me. A growth happened. And sometimes, you know, through breaks, that's where you grow the most, because your bones get stronger because of it. And when you prune a tree, you have to cut it back so that it can actually yield more. And so sometimes life will do that to you. And what the challenge is don't say this is bad. Just say we shall see. Cool?
Yes.
All right. That was for somebody, I don't know who it was. In the back, gray shirt, brown hair, thumb up.
I don't know if it's been asked, but I want to ask, how did you like playing the Joker in the Batman game?
Oh, I hated it. It was absolutely terrible. What's so funny, man, is when I was first approached for that, everybody auditioned like normal Hollywood schmucks, and but everything is under what's called an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. And somebody's brought that up yesterday. He goes, I'm sure you have NDAs. I'm like, oh, speak the lingo. So a lot of times that's when we say we can't talk about it. We really can't, because that's under penalty of either being sued, fired, or both. So we're not just being like, you know, cheese balls. We really mean it. We can't talk about it. So a lot of times they don't even send out the audition sites beforehand. Like, you have a meeting at 10 o'clock at this studio for Project X. You're like, all right, whatever, we'll see what this is. And then you get there, a lot of times you're like, oh, or it's, oh. Everybody was like, I don't know what this is, because there was no character name. I think it was Jack White, is who they said they were auditioning for. And only because I was so familiar with the character, like specific samples that they had chosen, I looked and I went, okay, this is from the animated series, this is from Arkham Asylum, and this is from The Killing Joke. Like, this is the Joker. And I went in and I immediately wanted to leave. Like, because I started kind of building up, it was no longer who's Troy Baker, it's like, oh, Troy Baker. It's like, people at least were familiar with me. I'm like, I'm gonna screw this up really bad. And I got in there like before I had a chance to bolt for the door. I was like, Troy. I was like, hey. And I'm like, come on in. I'm like, cool. And they've got a camera set up. They're like, we're just getting facial reference. You just want to, because they're going to try it and use your expressions and everything for the character. So it wasn't like mocap, but they were using it for facial reference. I was like, okay. They're like, any questions? I'm like, nope. Pretty good. And she was like, okay, we've got, you know, different samples. Is there one specific you want to start with? I'm like, yep. If I'm gonna do this. And I figured I had one shot at this, and I'd never heard The Killing Joke out loud. And so I said, I'm just gonna go for it. I was like, yeah, let's skip to like page 6. And they're like, okay. And I was like, this little monologue, this should be a good little thing. They're like, sure, go for it. I just closed my eyes and just went and finished and kind of did the look around, and they were silent. I'm like, great. And I was getting ready to get my stuff, and I was like, she goes, just give it a minute. Just give us a minute. I was like, okay. And Eric Holmes, our creative director, was in there, and I got it. And I was down at Comic-Con, up in the gas lamp and having a beer with a buddy of mine, and he said, how would you like to, or somebody told me, he goes, you need to meet with this guy before you leave. I'm like, I love him, but I don't know if I have time. He's like, you need to meet with this guy before you leave. And so he said, I just want to let you know they're going to make the offer for you to play the Joker. And I went, shut your mouth. And he said, yeah. And I'm like, I think I gotta say no. And he's like, what do you mean? Why would you say no? Like, because, I mean, like, I'm doing Lego Batman, which is weird. I was already in, you know, Arkham City. I've played Nightwing and Two-Face. If I play the Joker, it's like, man, people are gonna crucify me. And he said, oh, I reconsider, just don't say no carte blanche, because I really, really want you for this. I think you'd be great for it. I was like, I think it'd be great for it too if I hadn't already done everything, you know? And it's gonna be a one-man Batman show. And so I ended up going to, and he was Kirshen, who's the executive vice president for Warner Brothers Interactive. And he goes, I want to show you something. And I'm in his office. He goes, I want to show you something. And he showed me my audition. And he was like, we can keep looking, but everybody's happy with that. And if we believe in you, then who the hell are you to say no? He was like, well, okay, you got a point. He was like, I was like, but you got to spin this from a marketing standpoint. And he was like, we'll take care of everything. But just, will you believe in yourself enough to give this a shot? Just once. Okay? And it was all fear. It was all, and think about that. The only reason why we don't do something is because we're afraid. It's the only, I'm not saying that sometimes that fear isn't justified, but the only reason why we don't do something is because we're afraid. If we could get past the fear, what can we do? What can we experience? What can we accomplish? But don't let, and how stupid and ego-driven was that fear? Really? Again, like if you were here yesterday, Eric Holmes, our creative director, I was like, I'm afraid that people are going to hear my Joker and they're going to hate our game. He's like, we've made a great game. I don't think you can cock it up. Stupid fears. Stupid fears. Don't let your fears be the thing that hinder you, for God's sake. All shoe. I want to meet that girl so bad. Where is she? The cane? No. You. This lovely girl with the glasses, just raise your hand. Yes. Here, come here. Wait. Hold on. Make this fair, for God's sake. Go. When I write the songs, Barry Manilow writes the songs. That makes the whole world sing. I've got to find this real quick, hang on. Gustavo. I wouldn't want Gustavo to do the music. Because what that music, I know, no question, but, or was it? But I just love what he takes on a soundscape, and that music played such a character in The Last of Us. I'd be cool with writing some lyrics for it. That'd be awesome. Interesting. Hey, you guys maybe think. My Ellie, right occurred.
I have a question about for Last of Us. You know how Joel's kind of like iffy about Ellie's jokes or puns? How do you feel about them personally? Do you think they're funny? Like I have a punk book right here that has them all.
Oh God, here we go. What's so funny is, you know, we recorded those in the studio because those were like all in game. And what a great thing to do to have, like, if you're just, you know, those were idols. If like Joel was just standing around or just wandering around before you hit a certain checkpoint that would trigger something or whatever. To have Ellie just reading this joke book that she found. And it was funny because they had to look to make sure that they weren't doing any kind of copyright infringement or something they really had to pay for. They did like public domain puns. It was crazy. But so Ashley's literally reading these a lot of times for the first time. And so when you hear her laugh, like that was what I was laughing at, was the fact that Ashley was laughing at these own puns. She was like, that's a good one. But all of our, like, her recitation of the puns and my reactions to those aren't acting. It wasn't like, okay, every third one you like, then make sure the fourth one you say this. There were no lines. I was just like, oh, it's terrible. That's awful. What, you know? And she would be the same thing where, like, if it was a time-specific thing, that there was one about, something about the internet or something, she was like, I don't get it. You know, because it was like, I don't know, what's the internet? it was really cool. So again, it was such a great way to kind of like, it was another brushstroke to that canvas that like paid, because for a girl to be like, have you ever read these? These are great. It's like knock knock jokes. Are you kidding me right now? But how cool it was for her. She's Christmas morning about everything. But yeah, I love that you have those. All right, we'll hear one joke. Just pretty cool. This is what is known in radio as dead air. What? Who says that? What's so great is I hear voices, but then it's just like everyone's blank smiles looking at me like... Perfect place for an assassin to hide. All right, go ahead.
I heard two peanuts walk into a park. One was assaulted.
It's terrible. My other Ellie over here.
So you're a gamer and you
Yeah.
play your own games. Is it weird to hear yourself there?
Yeah.
Just like turn down the volume a little. You're just like,
No, fortunately right now, I mean, before my whole game setup was in the living room, and let me tell you how much my wife loved that. And now I've moved everything into our studio that we have, and I was like, babe, because I care about you, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna get a big screen TV and I'm gonna put it in our studio. Really? I love you, babe. This is what I want to do for you. Hi. Oh, no, that's means. So I have the setup, and I'm a huge fan of Turtle Beach. Like if you guys are the headsets, it's called a plug, by the way. Love me some Turtle Beach. And especially with a game like The Last of Us, where like Call of Duty, it's great because you hear footsteps, so it gives me that advantage. But especially with something that is as creepy as, like, I went back and I played Dead Space, the first one. There were moments I was like, it was so freaky because, especially in that game, you'd hear like, and normally in a normal game that means get ready for a boss fight. This is just, no, just messing with you. Nope, just wanted to remind you on your creepy spaceship. So I love playing with headphones. So fortunately, all my wife hears is me just going, it puts up with so much of my shit, it's great. Oh, shoot. So yeah, but it definitely is weird. And what's crazy is that The Last of Us was the first game that I was ever to really fully separate myself from. Like, I forgot that it was me. As stupid as that sounds, I forgot scenes. I was like, oh man, I totally forgot about that. Or that's what it looked like. Because in your mind, it's one thing, and then you actually see it realized, you're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense. There's one scene where it's me, Ellie, and Bill, and it's when you really come across the first pack, like the first herd, and all you really have is bow and arrows, and you're making your way in through, and you have to run, and you get them through a small glass window, and like you get dragged and then fall down. It plays so super fast, but we spent almost an entire day on that one thing, because we actually climbed up this wall, and then it's not that big, and what's really sad is that when I mean, it was higher than this. Yeah, it was about this high. It was about 6 feet high, maybe 7. But when you watch video of it, it looks like not that big of a deal, but I fell, and you can have a crash mat, but it just looks weird when you actually roll. So I learned how to take a fall right to where you fall and you just roll into it, and I'd pop up, and Neil goes, that looks really cool. I'm like, sweet. He goes, no, it looks too cool. It make Joe look like a ninja. I said, you can't do that. I was like, what do you need? He was like, I kind of need to just eat shit. I need you to just fall. And so I mean, faceplant just like bang, and I get up and I'm seeing complete white stars, and I just see Ellie or Ashley just going, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Let's get out of here." Just my bell is rung. But anyway, yeah, that's to see how that scene actually played out. It was like, oh man, I didn't look like that big of a fall at all. But to me, it was woo-hoo. All right, I'm gonna do one more. All right, because you shook your hand. Get up there. You. Really? I don't know, who would it be? I have to say now it would probably be Joker, but the problem is that there's some people that are really good at it. There's somebody, I retweeted it, somebody did a live recreation of the Killing Joke cover, and it's spot on. I don't know who this guy is. He's got to be an ugly, because wow. But it looks just like with the whole camera sideways and everything. Is really, really cool. So check that out on my Twitter. Thanks for getting up early and coming to hang and watch me spin my yarns. Are you gonna... Who are you cosplaying as?
I come from Smash Brothers.
I understand you come from Smash Brothers, but you?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, what is it? New Age Two-Face.
I was going with the Two-Face. I like it. And
After the plastic surgery.
that's the new age. Had a little work done. You see. Very well done. It's caught me. I keep looking, going. Is it? No. It's an Oreo. Just wait for the other dog to come on the other side, girl. Thank you guys so very much for joining us.
For Joker, yeah, okay. What Heath Ledger did for the Joker, which was Tom Waits, he even said that's like Tom Waits was his inspiration for the Joker. If you listen to any interview by Tom Waits, it's exactly what he sounds like. That's exactly the Joker that we needed. So I don't know, man. I mean, to me, like when I read The Killing Joke, that was Mark Hamill's voice in my head. Okay? Yeah, use the microphone. Sure.
Have you ever used one?
For me, it was what Mark did with the Joker, because that was the first time that I ever just heard a voice for the same version of a Joker that I'd seen. Does that make sense? Like with Jack, because Batman, the Tim Burton movie came out before the animated series did. But I'd read the comic books before then, so I wanted to see like that version, the animated version of a Joker, and Mark Hamill was the voice for that. So like when I read The Killing Joke, that's the voice that I heard for it. When I read Arkham Asylum, that was the voice that I heard for it. So Mark Hamill's kind of always been my Joker. He kind of always will be. All right, cool.
I have to say, to this day, I have not heard Mark Hamill do the Joker.
What?
To this day, I have not heard him do it, and that's true. And it always cracks me up when people say online, I'm trying to sound like him when I do the Joker, because I've never heard him do it. But I have to agree with you with Cesar Romero, because he was the first person I saw do that character, and I think he did an amazing job. And it's so funny because it was such a silly, goofy show, but they got some of the greatest actors, Burgess Meredith, Cesar Romero, there's some really incredible actors of the day that come on the show and be these...
Adam West?
Like I said, Cesar Romero and Burgess Meredith. And you're not going to say Burt Ward.
Burt Ward.
Oh, come on.
Hey, Burt Ward raises Newfoundlands.
I beg your pardon?
Yeah, the dog.
Oh, good for him.
I thought you meant people that lived in
But I have to say, I kind of, and we talked about this when we were in London actually, I had a different scenario a little bit, because I think you guys, when you stepped into those roles, they were rebooting those characters, and they kind of wanted you to sound a little bit like...
It had to point, because we were in the arc of the universe, you had to believe that this was a younger version of what Kevin had done and a younger version of what Mark had done. So we had the benefit of these rails to be on. If someone had come to me and go, hey, create a new Joker, I've been like, the door is there and you validate, right? Because I mean, I could have done it. Same thing. Well, I don't know, man, because it's the same thing. It's like when Under the Red Hood came out, And I was with John when he found out that he got that role. And when he played the Joker. Has anybody seen Under the Red Hood? It's amazing, right? One of my favorite lines on the thing, I'm gonna need some new guys, and hopefully not them, because they're, well, dead. Great. And I was at the geisha house with John DiMaggio, and he was like, I'm gonna play the Joker. I was like, oh shit, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It was this joy met with like, oh dude, you've got huge shoes to fill. Do you do Mark Hamill or do you do Heath Ledger? Because it had come out they started it right after Dark Knight. So he's like, I think I'm gonna do my own thing. And I would have hated to have been in John's situation where it's like, top that. Do something like that, but not that, but better than that, but kind of that, but not that. It was terrible. So I mean,
no, see, for me, I kind of have the other attitude about it because when I went in to audition for the Joker for these guys, basically they said to me straight up, we don't want you to sound like Nicholson, we don't want you to sound like Heath Ledger, we don't want you to do Hamill, we don't want you to do any of that. We want you to be the Joker. So I don't even know where this thing came out of me, but it came out of me. But and then I put it back in. But and then I took it out. You know, so for me, I feel it was more liberating not to have to try to. To me, it's weird to try to play an actor playing a character. I think it's really strange. So I found it liberating to just go in and be that character and not have to worry about any other constraints. So for me, I found it very liberating. And what about you?
No. I never read for the Joker.
Did you ever meet Bob Kane?
No, Bob Crane took pictures.
Oh, Bob Crane.
Again, missed. It's fantastic.
I was that much. It was I have some video of you with Bob Crane.
I wanted to do Gilbert Godfrey doing it. But then he said, I can't do it.
Very few people know this, but Gilbert Gottfried is actually blind and he uses his voice as sonar.
That boy's 50 yards away.
That makes sense then.
You know what? Now, Gilbert's turn as the Joker was inspiring.
I was just about to do a Danny Thomas spit take on you.
Yeah. Well, I can't speak to the Joker. I can tell you, when people ask me about the Penguin one, how I got inspiration for that, and it was animation. They sent me the picture of what he looked like with the bottle jammed in his face. You know, it's like instead of a monocle, it was actually the end of like a thick like a glass Coke bottle. So you see that he's all hunched over, but all I heard in my was Bricktop from Snatch. If you remember the movie Snatch. You know, Bricktop. You know.
Sugar? No thanks.
No thanks. I'm sweet enough. But it was not his voice, but as much as his attitude. Do you know what pizza takes to eat person? Remember that he did that? Give me that fucking shooter. I mean, that was. I mean, for me, if they ever did like a live version, that would be my casting choice. I mean, he's a brilliant actor. Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels.
He's in Lock, Stock. He plays a great guy. He plays the bartender in Lock, Stock.
Great guy. But then in that he played the most lovable. He's going down in the fourth. So you take that kind of attitude and you put this here. Batman's going down in the fourth. And that just kind of that attitude helped me find that character along with the animations. He looked uncomfortable and hunched up. You know, clearly had not stretched the traps.
See, that's kind of like what you're talking about too, where you've got Burgess Meredith, you got Danny DeVito, that are probably the most iconic versions of those characters. I can't remember who played him in the animated series. Does anybody know?
Abe Plotnick.
Huh?
Paul Williams?
Hal Williams?
Paul Williams?
Paul Williams?
But just because he's little.
That's Pee Wee Herman, right? That's Paul Williams. I apologize. Paul Williams was such a large Pee Wee Herman.
Paul Williams was the guy sitting next to
Somebody Google that.
in the theater.
Is that true?
Two guys that got shot in the theater. Abraham Lincoln, the guy they signed about Paul Rubens. Oh! It's late, guys. Terrible.
What, too soon? Who's that?
Right. Paul Williams, do you know Paul Williams?
Yeah.
Oh, are you talking about that guy? The guy from Roland and Martin's Laughing?
No, not he wasn't laughing.
My God.
He wrote the something.
That's Henry. No, not Henry
He wrote
Gibson.
a bunch of songs for the
Paul Williams, like he wrote Muppets. Yeah, he's on the new Daft Punk album.
He's
a composer.
Is it true? Does anyone IMDb him?
Is that the right Paul Williams?
I don't know.
I mean, it's not like it's a common name at all. Sweetheart, sit down.
Did I mention that I met Bob Stone?
You did distracting us.
Yeah, it's Paul Williams.
What was it?
It's Paul Williams.
It's the
yeah.
same Paul
Crap. I mean, wow. Well, good for him.
I did not know that. That is odd, weird, wacky. Don't do this. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, when they were casting for it, they weren't getting voice actors. They were just getting anyone they could that they thought would do it well. So they didn't go for just voice actors. They went for stage or whatever. So yeah.
Wow.
Who here knows who played Alfred?
Oh God.
Hey, Fluffy. You know what's great though? Okay.
That's right, the late great.
Wow.
Yeah, just passed.
Well, I was going to say what was great about what you just said too, and I do that too, and I don't know if you do it as well, but to see a visual of a character, then you can come up. At least for me, I can come up with a voice immediately. I see a picture of the guy, what he looks like, and then all of a sudden this stuff just comes out.
Yeah.
So you don't have to
Have
think
you ever
about it.
noticed though, you can now either take the character, like with Penguin, he's all bunched up,
You know, and he looked like he's one long legged people. Even when he's walking,
you know, the people when they walk in, and you know they're coming, they're like corduroys. You know, well, but the other thing that you can do is, that's nice, is you draw to the opposite of that. Now, like sometimes you see, like Kevin Michael Richardson has done this brilliantly. If you ever seen the Cleveland show, you know, he's Cleveland Junior. He's the little one. Big kid, and this voice comes out, Daddy. and you're just like, it's just such a great choice, because more people are doing this kid, you know, and he did this one, Daddy. And I looked at him one day and said, how'd you come up with it? He said, I was just goofing around, and they like that.
In addition to everything, is like, Kevin has probably, of all of us, with the exception of Steve Bloom, has the deepest voice of anybody. Anybody. I mean, he down here, like he real low. Imagine we'll get down there real low. You never want to be in the same room with John DiMaggio and KMR. That's just...
No, yeah,
you'll wet yourself.
I have to go back to puberty. Hey, you guys want to go get a phosphate?
You and John in the same room is pretty bad too.
I'll take which has nothing to do with this panel. I did a.
You gonna tell this story?
I did a movie. I don't know, but I did a DVD movie about dinosaurs. I don't remember. And there was these three dinosaurs. There were three security guards.
Lost in time.
What? Did you just yell masturbate? What?
That's what I heard.
I stopped doing those films. We're gonna reboot them at the IMAX. Look out! Anyway, the other thing, it was three security guards going times, and then the kid falls asleep, something happens, and we're dinosaurs, and it was me, John DiMaggio, and Tom Kenny doing this, and they put us in rooms, Jack Fletcher directing,
sorry, Jack.
and we sat there, and it should have taken 45 minutes, 3.5 hours, and it was one of the few times you could shut me up, because John was up there doing his thing, and Tom's doing and it was just, they going back and forth, and I'm in the middle of it. It was like tennis, and then I just started jumping in, and you would look across the thing, and the engineer was just doing this, just watching, and nobody, they had completely lost, they lost the room. It just went off, and Jack Fletcher's the director. Gentlemen, should we get back to the script?
There's a script that's been written that's really good. We should do
That's a better Jack than I did. That's pretty good.
Jack is like this. Jack directed all the Final Fantasies. He brought a lot of the Miyazaki stuff to the States. He's just incredible. And he's got great long hair down to here, and he wears these glasses that are tinted dark, like his soul. He's just the most lovable. He's one of the greatest.
He's a really good director
with, and he's incredible. Anyway,
he's a good guy. He's a good guy. No, but this has nothing to do with anything. What?
Yes.
Oh, wait. Wait.
Yes, question.
No, come on. What?
Question.
This is all I can think of. It might be kind of like a dumb question, but like, what should we expect from the new Arkham City? Like, I mean, the Arkham Knight. Arkham Knight.
Arkham Knight?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm sorry. Batmobile?
No, it's like I don't know. It's like the only Batman-related thing I can think of. And the other thing I could think of is like, should we have high hopes for Batman versus Superman? And that's also kind of like a dumb question because of Zack Snyder and Man of Steel and stuff.
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
I don't know is a good answer.
First of all, Arkham Knight.
He knows. Troy always knows.
I mean, Rocksteady originated this whole Arkham universe, right? And when I first found out they were doing Arkham Asylum, I was like, there's no way they can do that graphic novel. There's no way, because it's too twisted. When you have Batman jabbing a piece of mirror into his skin just to stay sane, you can't make that game. But what they did with it was an incredible interpretation of it, and they made it palpable and they made it attainable to a lot of people. They continued that with Arkham City, it became bigger. Arkham Origins, I think, was amazing, and especially for it to be outside of a different studio, for them to continue in that franchise and make you feel like it's in the same world and it not be Rocksteady was an accomplishment. Now it's back at Rocksteady. Rocksteady has announced this is their swan song. They're going out with the Arkham franchise with Arkham Knight. It's going to be huge, like bigger than GTA as far as a open world sandbox game that you can drive the Batmobile in. It's going to be incredible and it's huge. And I'm really, really glad that they slipped. I'm glad that they pushed, because it was originally supposed to come out, this year in October or November or whatever, and they pushed it next year. That just means that they're working harder to make it the game that they wanted it to originally be. I'm all behind that. So I have huge hopes for Arkham Knight. I think it's going to be incredible. G-O-T-Y.
I just hope Ventriloquist appears.
What's that?
The Ventriloquist, Scarface. Like, I just want to throw it out in the open that like I just hope that they feature Scarface.
Dude, that's a pretty fringe little villain.
I just find him pretty interesting though.
I think he's very. What's the guy that is the puppet master for Scarface?
The ventriloquist.
I know, but what's his name?
Oh, sorry. God.
Don't Google it yet. Because honestly, I've only ever seen that guy in the animated series. I've seen him in the comics before too, but he was really only prevalent.
But they did have Scarface in Arkham Asylum. He's in one of the Scarecrow hallucinations. He's the warden of the
True. That's true. I'd be curious to see if he's. I don't know. We've lost four.
And Arkham City, yeah.
Walking it back. Bathroom is to the left. Don't turn around. Second. Don't turn around. We're talking about you.
As far as the bat,
look back. I saw that. Oh wait. Oh, we got four in. We got four in.
Traded four.
They traded in the door.
As far as the.
Oh wait, we're losing two more. Get up. Sit down. Sit your asses down. I'm gonna use my hand. If you do it, it's Troy Baker's fault. Yeah, Troy's fault.
Batman versus Superman. I don't know, man. I don't know. I want it to be good. I really do. I mean, the only way that you can have a really good Batman versus Superman, I mean, Batman keeps Kryptonite locked away in the Batcave. So I agree. Someone just got teleported. That's crazy. I think that it can be really cool. But you have to make it to where Batman doesn't trust Superman, and that you actually believe that Batman can take Superman. Yeah. So
I do Lego Batman stuff.
You have to believe that you I don't know about you guys, changing the subject quickly, but
thank God, change it.
I don't know about you, but I thought it was really cool to record on the Warner Brothers lot, to do a Batman game on the Warner Brothers. You guys like that?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, well I have an office there.
Oh.
Excuse the bathroom.
Frig out of me.
It's the bathroom. It's the bathroom.
It does the bat room.
They don't allow me there. But I clean up.
No, isn't that? I thought that was pretty cool to do that.
Yeah, well, no, they built these. You mean the new studios down under the underground?
We worked on both stages. We were on ADR1 and 4 downstairs. Or is it 3 downstairs?
Yeah, but it's cool when you pull up to the lot.
5, yeah.
When you pull up to the lot, we're talking about you pull onto the lot IDs. I mean, it's really cool. There's the Warner Brothers big water tower.
That's Warner Brothers. I mean, that is
cool
Batman,
place.
really. That's Batman's home. So it was kind
Or
of cool.
Yakko, Wacko, and Dot.
I want the one.
6 people.
The Animaniacs were in the Watertown.
I know you may not want to do it, you're not going to be asked to do it, but do you think any one of you could take the role of Batman
I think all three of us could do it.
would you want to?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it.
I have. Yeah. Lego Batman, man.
What do you mean besides Lego? Lego's an institution, man.
I am Batman. I am Batman.
Superman.
No, I
am, you know that, right?
What's that?
We never get to record together. I do Superman.
Oh, you did Infinite Crisis?
No, in the Lego.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's one you're always trying to. I don't trust you. I'm like, come on, man.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Doesn't help. We never record together.
No, we never get to record
together.
See, Nolan could do it on camera. He's got the look for it.
Yeah.
I used to have them, but
you still do that.
Not too small.
Too old.
Hit the gym.
But that little show, Pretty Little Liars, just happens to be on Warner Brothers Live. Huh?
Yeah.
There's any
Do you guys do
14-year-old
that
girls
on
here?
Yeah.
14-year-old girls here. He'll know. Mr. Hastings is not A.
Joker in the back there, what do you have to say?
I'm losing the crowd.
Oh, I had to make a burnt offering. And, you know, I mean, Mark himself said that he was, after 20 years, almost 25 years, hanging up the clown Prince of Crime shoes. And that she's like, preach it! Oh, Jesus! I'm attracted to heroes that aren't superheroes, if that's okay. That's why I like Batman so much. But yeah, I would, if something that hasn't been done really yet, I'm not Ben Affleck now. I would love to do Daredevil. What do you mean?
Catwoman.
I just do more of a husky voice.
This is Catwoman. Hi, honey. I just got back from Oslo. The doctor took care of things.
But instead of scratching, I just put my tail and spray on it. No, What? My cat did it to our couch.
Nolan North was twerking at the panel.
Yeah, that's it. That's a brilliant idea. And then the villain. Who's the villain?
The Spayer.
Who's the greatest Spayer of all time?
Bob Barker.
Bob Barker!
Make sure you get your animals spayed and don't have them procreate.
This team of beautiful women.
I got to spend time with him before he died. It was great.
Did he try to spay you? Who would I do? I like to do James Bond. Is he in the band? He's not in the band.
Bob is still alive.
Got the watch.
I've got the watch. Thank you. That's true. I do have the watch. I'd love to give a shot at Batman. I'd love to try to do Batman. He's a great character, and I've always loved him. So yeah, one of these days.
Try to do Batman. You'd kill Batman. You'd be awesome.
Thank you.
You would.
I love it.
And you wouldn't have to do any kind of. I mean, I'd have to do something with the voice to do Batman. You just do your voice. You'd be bitching. Seriously. But you'd have cover Batman.
Write your congressman.
I would like to do Penguin.
All right,
We have time for like 2 more. I gotta get.
Who has that?
This gentleman right here. Don't be surprised. Yes.
Well, I don't know. There's a bunch of people back there. So my question is, Hamill always said that he was the only one in the recording studio who would stand up, because they would do it ensemble, and everyone else would be sitting down with the stuff, and he would be standing and ranting and waving his arms around because he had to bring the energy to the character. So for you guys, all three of you, it's a process question. What do you do when you're doing the villains to really give that energy? Is it just do you sit down and read off the script, or do you move around and wave your arms?
I sit now. I'm a sitter.
You bum.
I'm a sitter. No, sometimes I sit because and I'll have them lower the mic when I do Penguin or something because I'll sit there, because I want to cave it in. I kind of, I don't know. I mean, if I'm doing characters, that might be, I may, but I sit. I'm lazy. I sit because I'm lazy, but I definitely try to. And people laugh, Chris Zimmerman always used to laugh. He directed me. I mean, some people have noticed that, like I'll do this face. I can't do it when I'm doing this. I can't just, it doesn't.
I always put a whoopee cushion.
It doesn't even wear. If I just do, you gotta do this face. I don't know. Something. Yeah, so I try to. It helps me.
If it helps you to sit, then you should sit.
Yeah. No, and the other thing is, I don't know. I just even for yelling sessions, I'll sit because I feel like you have to yell from the diaphragm, and I don't sitting. Sometimes I'll put my fingers right here just to kind of feel it and just kind of okay. There,
I don't want to hear where you put your fingers. This is a PG show.
Get your fingers. By the way, best line in Airplane. Get your fingers. Robert said, "Get your fingers out of here." And then that guy just. My kids, I got my kids to watch it.
I love that movie.
They kept replaying the boobs.
Like a big town.
I read everything off my iPad, just because I'll drop paper like crazy because I'm a klutz.
And it makes noise.
And I can always tell how intense the session has been by how much spit is on my iPad. But yeah, it's you adopt a certain posture. That totally makes sense for me to do the Penguin like that. And I think that
What do you do?
The Jokers, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. It's just it was this a lot. I had this.
Don't you go full cosplay then?
Yeah. Well, they
That's full cosplay.
Why are there more guys that yeah, I mean, I don't ever, because they did video reference of us for the animators to kind of when we did the lines or everything to kind of match what our expressionists did. I would never want to see those because those have got to be the most ridiculous tapes of us ever. But again, it's voice acting is the term, but understand that it's still at the root of it. It's acting, it's understanding a character, and it's being able to channel all of those things that you would have on stage or film or whatever into one specific conduit. So that sometimes looks ugly. So if you want to do this thing, this voice acting thing, you have to understand it's not just about having a cool voice. Yep. You really got to be able to put yourself through duress in order to sitting there being like this for 4 hours. That's going to be a process.
I've usually done it too.
With your fingers in yourself.
I wear gloves, man.
Getting back to the original question, I prefer to stand. I think I have more energy when I stand, and I think I can support my diaphragm better when I stand. But I completely understand, for a character in particular, if you feel that he's like that and you want to be like that, I think it's great. I think it's really up to the individual actor. For me, I think if I had sat in a chair, I would just get too, relaxed and lethargic, and I feel I have more energy when I stand, so I always stand in my sessions. That's just me, though.
He's also the tallest in the room. So it may just be kind of...
There you go.
We have time for one more.
Is it a good one? Better be a good question. I'm going to pick the last one. I got to go with the guy with the knife in the back there.
How do you guys feel about people cosplaying characters they voice?
Awesome.
We hate them.
You know what? The only one that's kind of tough is when a guy walks up as Nathan Drake from Uncharted, and he's jacked. Hey, I'm dressed like you. I'm like, yeah, yes you are. But you look like you can climb that mountain. Yeah.
Is that it? Are we done?
I mean, do we have
one more really good?
One more.
Really good? It's got to be a great question.
Sergeant Pepper's a little bit over there. Nolan, you pick.
What? That guy right there, the glasses and the beard. Yeah, you. I don't know, you're just right there.
Either way,
think that Batman's kind of a jerk with what he does for his job? Like, you know, like he doesn't kill his enemies, you know, they keep escaping Arkham, and they kill like innocent people, and then they go back to Arkham and escape, kill more. Do you think he should like take care of the problem permanently? Or?
Batman needs to start killing people. Because otherwise, all he is that he's just another, like, the rich dude from that, you know, what's that romance novel that everybody bought?
Harlequin Moment?
Wuthering Heights?
Yeah. Basically, Bruce Wayne is nothing more than the rich guy in 50 Shades of Grey, but with different kinds of toys. And that guy stabbed more people than Bruce Wayne does.
On that note, thank you guys very much.
Why is Scott McNeil's name? It's great because he's awesome.
Just a quick reminder, we do ask that you do not do photography or recording.
Oh, okay.
We're working on an album now.
Yeah, so we're doing that.
So it's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be like Backstreet Boys.
It's like Backstreet Boys acoustic unplugged.
And you know, Dante and I have like bumped into each other because this is the way the whole thing works. It's you meet people like
on the con circuit.
Yeah, that's when we really get a chance to actually
hang out
and go, who are you? Because one of us is coming in or one of us is coming out of studios, and you do a lot of stuff at Nickelodeon.
Yeah. Hashtag Con Life. This is it.
That's right. Hashtag Con Life. So I like these opportunities because I know that the topic is a life outside anime, but career outside anime? Maybe a life outside either one.
Life and career.
One of the page. I'm not going to tell you which one. But it would be cool. I kind of want to get to know this guy too. So maybe like together we could, you know, kind of find out some
vice
stuff.
versa.
Because I've seen your sister before.
Really?
Yeah, dude, your sister. But Dante does spoken word. His sister, Lady Bosco.
Lady Bosco.
Also,
It's my little sister.
Your little sister?
Yes, my little sister. She has a spoken word venue, or a performance venue, downtown LA called Speakeasy, and I have a spoken word venue called DP at the Poetry Lounge in LA.
I need to go to this.
You need to come.
I've only seen her streaming up. That was the only time I ever saw her.
Oh yeah, you gotta come too.
And my wife was with me, and she has this one spoken word thing. How basically her perfect man. Like I will find.
Oh yeah.
It's intense, girls. I mean, like if you want to like walk out and be like, or don't do this. Maybe find a different place. Whatever is more appropriate for you. But,
I just saw a CD yesterday. I saw today too of your band.
Yeah.
Called Trey Fontaine.
And nobody knows. Feel free to go to sleep, guys.
Can you circle what year were we talking about these pictures on that CD?
It was 10 years ago. And 10 years ago,
it's awesome.
That looked cool.
It was cool.
To have like the Johnny Resnick from Goo Goo Dolls hair.
That's what it was.
Straight up. What's funny is I kept cutting my. I like to think that he changed his haircut for me because I would cut my hair and then Johnny Resnick literally would have the same hairstyle on whatever album they were out next, and so it just kind of became this.
So I have a story about that dude.
Explain the restraining order that he has against me, but we kid. You know, it's just how we love each other. Nobody knows who the Goo Goo Dolls is.
You guys know the Goo Goo Dolls are? So I actually have a story about him.
About Johnny Resnick?
Yeah, I don't know the dude, but so there's this restaurant in LA called the, what's that? It's like a breakfast restaurant right on Sunset, across the street from the Coffee Bean right there, Sunset in Fairfax. The Griddle.
Oh, the Griddle, yeah.
Yeah, the Griddle. So I'm at the Griddle with my girl, and Johnny Resnick is sitting like right behind us, and the tables are really close to each other, right? And I'm eating, and like after breakfast, he's there the whole time with some guy just talking. But you know when you see someone in your mind, their song is in your head? So in my head, I'm singing, you know, I don't want to worry. And so I'm done eating, and I didn't even think it was in my head. I yawn after like I eat, and I'm like, I don't want the world. No. And I'm singing, and I look, and when I lean back, my head's literally on their table. I don't think that you'd understand.
Hey man, we don't have to make this weird.
And it was super weird, and I was super embarrassed. Like we connected eyes, and he looked at me like, what the fuck? And I leaned back, and I was like, oh my god, I don't believe I just did that.
Yeah, have you ever heard that song? It's by a bitch. I'll just leave.
I'm super embarrassed. But just the song is in your head, and you're humming it, and then you're singing it to the guy who sings it.
I mean, like, it's true. There are definitely moments in living in LA where you're just gonna bump into random, and it never happens like when you're ready for it. It's always when you have diarrhea or whatever. I don't know. It's like the most uncomfortable you could possibly be. I was sitting outside of that Starbucks that's off of Sunset, right next to Saddle Ranch.
Right.
And it's always those places. It's like the griddle, and there's always somebody there. But then there's a Starbucks that's right across, not too far away from that joint.
The Old Thunder Road, right there.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm getting my coffee, and it's like one of those things where your life, it hangs in the balance of how good this coffee is. Have you ever had one of those mornings where you're like, this could go either way, guys, and this could turn everything? And so I'm having my coffee, I'm just like, please, just do something positive for my life right now. And I look up, and Billy Bob Thornton is staring at me. I was like, you go, hey, he goes, hi. Says, good coffee. He goes, I hope so, I'm gonna get some. And walks inside. I was like, that was my interaction with Billy Bob Thornton. I hope so. I'm gonna get some. He like bumps my shoulder. I was like, sorry. He goes, sorry. Oh. I used to date Angelina Jolie. That's my Billy Bob Thornton impression.
He married her.
Again, 6 people know.
He married her.
Wait, you did marry her? Yeah, but that was a weird marriage.
It was a weird marriage. I was at the premiere of Gone in 60 Seconds, and they were like making out all over the premiere.
Billy Bob Thornton and Angelina Jolie and her brother.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah.
Again, relevant topics from 6 years ago that only 4 people
Yeah,
get.
so, what's up?
So that's Los Angeles. That was the intro.
That was our awkward intro.
If this was Fallon, then we would be going to our first break. And I think we actually got more laughs than Fallon gets.
Exactly.
Nothing goes to Tampa. I mean, nothing happens like LA. I mean,
Oh, there's some stuff that happened last night, bro.
Last night in Tampa, I wound up at the castle.
He was at the castle.
Have you been to the castle?
And I don't...
It's kind of like a gothic fetish club, kind of.
Oh my god.
Which I didn't realize what was going on. And there was this one dude there, and they call him the Senator.
Oh my god.
And you guys know about the Senator? The Senator was ass naked. And
Senator does what?
this guy called the Senator, he was like a middle-aged man, but he was like butt naked in this, at the castle, but he had like a string around his waist, like twine kind of, and like a nut sack. Okay. and then he like making his way to the dance floor, and he's boogieing, and I'm like, I'm actually proud of my man for being very cool with himself and his body.
Good for you,
that
man.
he could just, that he's just out there doing his
I
thing.
teach algebra Monday through Friday.
But on Saturday at the castle, he's the Senator. He's like, that's his superhero alter ego. Yes, questions.
The mayor.
He's the mayor?
The mayor.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mayor.
We stand corrected.
I knew he had some political ties. I didn't understand which ones they were.
I, however, humble brag, went to the Marvel Live show last night.
That's cool.
Which, if I was 9 years old, I would have been losing my mind. But how what?
how corny was it?
Bro, no words, man. No words. We all did the voices for it. Like I play Hawkeye, Loki, Travis plays Thor. I mean, everybody from the show that we do is on there. With the exception of Adrian Pastar was an Iron Man. Nolan North was Iron Man. He makes a great Iron Man. But so we knew, you ever see like a Six Flags stunt show or whatever, I mean, you know it's bad. But it never occurred to me until we started doing this stuff, is that somebody records those voices, because you're not actually hearing them do it. They're pantomiming to everything that we say, and they're really selling it that it's 4:30 in the afternoon. Everything is so big, and we knew it was gonna be bad, but I was like, I still gotta see it. And it was a really interesting thing, because I'm sitting there going, oh my God, look at these performances, it's terrible. You don't really understand the character arc that we're trying to build here with the show. There's incontinuity. And I look around, and there's this 8-year-old behind me that is like, he is watching Jesus walk on water. And he's just like, just enraptured. It's, what's gonna happen to Wolverine, Dad? I don't know, son. Dad's gonna go get another beer, though. But it was just this really cool thing to witness, and it was super fun. And if you get like a bunch of people together, it's like going to Chuck E. Cheese now. It's like ironic that you go, but you still want to be in the ball pit. I'm just doing this for like the kicks and whatever, but I have a lot of tickets, and I'm getting that thing that's, yeah. I always wanted stuff on the top rack, you know, that those kids came in.
The bike.
Like the bike.
The bike, dude, I've never gotten that.
And it was always like a 30-year-old guy that would walk into Showbiz or Chuck E. Cheese.
It's like 10,000 tickets.
10,000 things. He goes like, I started this when I was 8. Today's that day, Matt. Today's that day.
Yeah.
They don't give away tickets anymore. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it's like a coupon.
They're digital?
Yeah, you have like a key and you like put it in the thing.
That's so lame, man.
Like
I wanted tickets.
Right.
There was nothing. It's kind of like it teaches kids about slot machines, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Free gambling.
Yeah, dude. I knew so many people, they're like boa constrictors. They'll strangle children.
I know, it was cool to have all those tickets when you were younger.
You walk in, you're like, what's up?
Bam! Count these.
And you feel like you're rich.
We have a machine for that.
You should count them. Jeez, Timmy, okay. I'm 6. I don't want the switchblade knife comb thing. Remember that? You ever
That was the coolest thing to get. If you got the switchblade knife.
The switchblade knife that was a comb?
Yeah, that was
Hey man, don't mess with me. You got me? Oh, Timmy's hardcore. What, Dad?
I saw a butterfly knife come in the vendor's hall.
No, I did. I saw the butterfly knife. Can opener.
So let me ask a question.
Questions.
I have a question.
Yes, you in the front row in the red shirt with the palm trees and the seagull.
Oh God. Don't throw it. Oh, this is amazing. I sold my daughter for booze. It was a good deal. And there's a game I'd buy a shot.
Shock,
He has a daughter.
Sold for booze.
A drinking problem.
It happens to the best of them.
And then I was all like, no. She goes up and she can control reality. So I think, in the long run, she lost a pinky. She gained power over reality.
I'll trade in my pinky for power over reality.
She looks like Laura Dern. 5th row. This is a good thing.
5th row.
Do you remember Jurassic Park? The main girl in Jurassic Park? Oh God, it was you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 5. Seat 3 from the left.
Yeah, Laura Dern. Yeah, Laura Dern.
See Laura Dern?
Yeah, I see her. I see her Laura Dern there.
Yes, now
Cool.
hook me up.
It's a big pile of poop.
Yes, question, sir.
That was my hat.
Before last week,
I thought it was
Yeah.
Hugo reappeared.
Yes, an elder statesman is you, man.
So did they ever even ask if you wanted to do the voiceover?
No, you know, they were searching for a Dante Bosco voice type, but like 70 years old. So I saw the breakdown.
Get me a 70-year-old Dante Bosco.
Yeah, I thought I got a kick out of that. No, I mean, I'm still voicing Iroh on the show, so I'm not one of those voice actors that have tons of different voices. So that wasn't gonna work. Pretty much me talking the same way.
I know a guy.
You know a guy?
I know a guy. Slips him his card. That show, man.
He was a good character in that
Was he?
show, and I really liked him.
Thank you, sir. He's a great guy, a great character. He's an awesome dude.
He was a dirtbag for a while, and he was a good guy.
He's a dirtbag.
Listen to this guy. All right, I don't be speaking out of turn. The guy's a dirtbag. You understand what I'm saying to you right now? He's a dirtbag.
No disrespect, no disrespect, but the guy's a fucking dirtbag.
He just, you know, some bad things happen to him. That's all I'm saying. Maybe he doesn't come home. Or maybe he pays up like he's supposed to.
Strange feeling that 70 years old, Dante would still look the same as he does now.
He's 89.
That might happen. It's too much time in Neverland, man. Too much time in Neverland.
Wait, he died in
Methuselah.
Question. We're actually supposed to be talking about life outside of voiceovers.
But that's what we're here for.
But that's what we're here for.
Yeah, that was the. I was like,
We're all wearing wigs and whatnot. I mean,
Yeah,
we're dressed up like fictional characters. I think that's what we're here for.
Exactly. So we can roll with however y'all want to roll.
Yeah. Okay.
I had a little idea
Okay.
or a scenario thing I wanted you guys to enact, but it's okay if you don't want to. But what if Zuko went out and searched for Excalibur?
Oh my God!
I must find the Excalibur. Oh. Something like that?
Pretty much perfect. All right, next for you. Go.
Yeah.
Are you just praising Jesus? I don't know what's happening.
Yes, you. Yes.
I have a question for you guys. I know that you guys are really passionate about acting. What are you passionate about outside of that? Like what really gets you like hyped?
I got like passions. You know, been doing poetry for a long time, spoken word, and I actually tour the country doing a lot of that kind of stuff at colleges and whatnot. And writing, I love writing. I wrote a few films that got produced, and my first play did a bunch of sold out nights last year in LA, and we're doing a run of it downtown LA this year, so I'm passionate about that. So in the world of writing, outside of like the creative world, what am I passionate about? I'm not 100% sure. Money, cash money. Oh, I'm a good poker player. I don't really like, I'm a good poker player, I guess. I play poker all over the country and the world too sometimes. And they let you go on a celebrity poker competition, so. Really? Yeah, they like fly me out and I get free buy-ins. That's kind of cool. Yeah. And then also just like lightweight, I'm like a tech geek, lightweight, so, you know, I go to those conferences and read like Engadget and Gizmodo and TechCrunch and stuff like that before I go to sleep. What are you into?
Toaster strudels. The frosting is just right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of people who were here the other night, music is kind of been, that's a good respite for me, both physically, emotionally. It's crazy as you get older, how your passions, they temper a bit, but they also get really laser focused. Like you really start, like when I was younger, I was in everything. There was so much stuff that I wanted to do, and you find that time becomes an even more precious commodity, and you're not able to go to that cash machine and withdraw those funds that you need as often as you want, or that account is just dry. So you start really being smart with your investments, and you get a family, and you put all your time into that as much as you can, and I spend a lot of time working, even though we're not like in a studio or something. So you need to come up for air every once in a while, and I've got a very, very tight-knit group of friends, and those are my people that are my backbone, and they remind me of why I'm doing what I'm doing, so that it's really easy for me to work just because I love it so much, and that'll start eating you up, and you have to be able to go, okay, I need to go play cards. I need to do something else besides this. So you stay and lose. What's up? Just pointing. Yeah. I was here. Oh, last night at the castle thing? It was a great time. Awesome. But I love cards as well. I'm really starting to try to go back and read classics. Like on a whim, Dostoevsky, The Idiot, and because I
This one guy said, Brother Karamazov is everything you need to know about life.
Really?
Yeah, and I tried to read it 4 times, and it's so hard.
It's so great. I mean, do you guys know what we're talking about at all? Dostoevsky? All right, cool. Really? Well, it'll take up the whole of the summer.
So hard.
It's, I think that we're getting away from thinking. I think that we don't have to think as much as we used to. There's never any time for us to just sit and think. Not be on your phone and do something, but just sit in silence and think. I never do this. I'm always constantly got some screen in front of me. And I love to take breaks and play game, which is a great outlet for me. It also reminds me that I'm a gamer first. That's what I love doing. But we just need to sit and think sometimes, and just be uncomfortable with it too. When was the last time you just sat down somewhere? No phone, no iPad, no TV, no anything to distract you, and just welcome whatever thought was in your mind. It could be terrible. It could be like a scary thought. So we call it sleeping. We close our eyes when we do this, and we play movies in our mind. We never do that. And I challenge you, man, do that just once next week. If you can get one, it's going to be huge. But just sit there and go, and not reach for the phone, not reach for the TV, not reach for anything, but just sit there and the comfortableness of your own thought and get comfortable with it. It's crazy. Yeah.
I'm with that. That's big. That's good. Go ahead.
I know you're into music, and you mentioned Aerosmith and the Eagles earlier in the weekend in your panels. I was wondering what kind of music you like to listen to.
I'm all over the map. Did you tweet that? Did you say I forgot to ask him if he liked Aerosmith? I love Aerosmith.
That's my favorite band, so, and I've seen them like a billion times in concert.
I have such an affinity for Get a Grip, like that album, which is really cool, and it spoke to me. And when it came out, I was really open to it. And then you kind of go back and you do, Toys in the Attic, and you do, Pump and everything else, which is great. But yeah, Get a Grip and 9 Lives.
I love
Believe it or not, 9 Lives. I was like, some albums become like the soundtrack of your life. And I was going through a bad breakup, and Hole in My Soul was like.
What happened to Scott?
He's always
Yeah,
no,
true.
he's always in the crowd. He's somewhere.
I forget, and I know these things. I know. He did that last time. He was the guy.
In case you're missing Scott, I'll just scream a lot so you won't miss him. Okay, we'll share.
And this is the end, my friend. Thank you and good night.
You want to do Q&A? You want to talk about anything? Anybody has any platforms or advertising?
How was your con? Did you guys have fun?
This is like a first date with all of you.
Or second or third date with some of you.
Yeah. Third.
Having a good time.
I think we've been dating so long we're engaged. We did have an engagement this con, which was great. Yeah, we did. Yeah.
It was a fire lord engagement. Zuko was involved. So this is our farewell panel. What do you want to talk about, Richard? Pass the mic.
I want to talk about the new bed we just bought, actually. You seeing this? Mary Elizabeth is flipping me off.
No, she has a hangnail. She was like, Richard, what do you
No,
do
she's
something like this?
now Troy's flipping me
No,
off.
I have one too. It's right there.
I don't have to come here to be insulted. I can stay home and be insulted.
Hayden, how was your con? I never get to see you.
I know, I thought we would hang out, because oh, right, we have an announcement, right? The
Yes.
Batman Assault on Arkham coming out.
Yes.
And we're Joker and Harley Quinn.
Right. It's good. What is that? That's October?
August 12th.
August 12th. It's
In
fast.
the streets, yeah, they're premiering it.
Kamakan. They're premiering it at Kamakan.
Who's coming to Comic-Con this year? This is my first Comic-Con I'm missing in like 7 years. Really? You're gonna have a good time.
And she was never seen again.
They lost her in the dealer room. Be prepared to stand a lot and not move.
It's fun. The first year is fun. It's just crazy. You're gonna see a lot of friends from East Coast, West Coast, from Texas, just there, hanging out. A lot of great parties. A lot of great fans. It's fun. It's just times 100. You know.
What's crazy is like Saturday, if you're in the main hall and you want to like move, it's like getting onto a freeway. You just kind of wait for your opportunity. You just kind of roll into the sea of humanity and you just carry it. And wherever you can find a way to get out, you're like, I got it on a 42D. Here we go! And you just kind of tuck in there. And it hurts sometimes.
Yeah. And you can take time out. You know, I'm friends with Zach Levi, and he created Nerd HQ, which is next door at Petco.
Yeah.
And it's like a time off from Comic-Con with this other crazy nerd con. It's not really a con, it's like video games and people hanging out. It's just a more relaxed situation.
Are you talking about like outdoors at Petco Park?
Well, outdoors and indoors at Petco, he has that whole Nerd HQ situation.
Yeah,
And there's panels there too going on, but then there's also just playing video games and eating and chilling out.
Because I've been to the park and it feels kind of like Central Park in New York, like in like Strawberry Fields, where it's just kind of like people are hanging.
Aliens are coming.
Is that what it is? Thank God.
Coming to get you, Troy.
Take us away.
If you're a claustrophobic at all, though, it's not.
It's a who?
It's if you're claustrophobic at all, it's just not. It's just kind of intense. There's just so many people there.
So I'm going to be spending a lot of time in Catalina. Is that what you're saying?
They moved out of tents.
Coronado.
There's no. You change shirts.
It's like a Christmas
It's no longer
Walmart all the
intense.
time.
It used to be intense. Now it's like in a big building.
Now it's just intense.
Good night, everybody.
I can play Roger's prank call for 13 minutes, which is hilarious.
Please do.
Who's heard it?
You guys, do you follow Roger Craig Smith on Twitter?
Yes.
You should, and if you don't, you really should.
There's an you can listen to it all the time. There's an IRS tax scam that's going out where they're calling you and they're trying to say that you're...
Yo, they called me.
Did they?
Twice.
You have to record Roger, so they call
I
you
got
and
him
say-
on my joint. He's trying to scare me. I still have it. But then I had my lawyer calling me like, what's your IRS number? He's like,
Yeah, if you get a lawyer involved.
It was like 208. He's like, that's not my IRS number.
Yeah.
Wait, what is this scam?
So it's
I don't know.
an IRS tax scam. They call it like this is the IRS Tax Crime Bureau of Investigation Department Building Association. Institute, yeah, thank you. And
Incorporated.
Do not.
They say
ignore this call.
Yeah, they're like that we're coming to arrest you. You owe some random number of money.
$7,000.
$7,000, and you have to pay this. But don't worry, you don't have to pay this directly to the IRS. You can just pay us directly, and we'll take your money. And so they unfortunately called one Roger Craig Smith, who just went to town on these guys.
Called them 3 times,
3 different
using
times.
3 different voices.
No, it ends up going to like 6 different voices.
Yeah.
And he has one point where he's a mom who's holding a baby, and it just goes downhill from there. There's a dog that gets involved at one point, but it's all just Roger with making sounds. So go on YouTube and look for Roger Craig Smith, and it's the prank calls, IRS tax prank. Not now, everyone goes
And
there.
it's on, there are links to it on Twitter. It's on Soundhound or something, and he links it on Twitter. It's just brilliant.
It's so good.
so funny. He's just one of the
We killed
funniest.
3 minutes just talking about it.
I know, isn't that nice? Wasn't
Isn't
it
that kind of like the Prince of Nigeria?
Worse.
Yeah. Oh,
that was my
favorite thing when I won the lottery. I won the British lottery, which was
I got that
amazing.
one too.
It was 14 million euro, and I emailed back and I said, "That's unbelievable! I'm in London right now. Let me know where you are, and I will come with a police escort, of course, because I don't want to be walking around London with 14 million, sterling, pounds. So let me know, please." And I never heard from them again, and they took me off their list, which was really nice. So next time you get one of these scams, just play into it.
You know what
It's
I
great.
did? I emailed this guy back. I said, "Oh my God, you left me and our 14 children. They are handicapped. They're in special schools. Lucy's in the hospital. Zach can't even walk anymore. You owe me this money. I'm coming right now to get you." And I never heard from him again. No.
Those Nigerian princes get around, apparently.
So what do you guys want to talk about? You have any questions? Yeah. Yes.
Oh no.
Shouldn't we yell as loud as we can? That'd be fun.
All right, everybody do a Braveheart battle cry on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
One person poked their head and walked away.
It's a convention. This is standard fare.
What I loved is the guy that looked in, just kind of looked at him and goes, "Sucks for them," and kept walking. Whatever's happening in there sounds like they're all being tortured. Wonder what's going on in the...
You guys have any questions for us before we're pushing off to the great blue skies?
Yes. I got one. So, even though stuff's on here, but yesterday in the VoiceActors Unplugged panel, you had said that if you weren't a voice actress, that you wanted to be an archaeologist.
Yes.
And I got a little irritated when Scott did the Indiana Jones thing because I'm currently getting my master's in classical archaeology with a certificate in museum studies. So this is really important to me. So my question here is that what do you guys
I just want to say to you, dun 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 dun.
Dr. Jones!
Yes, before you were so rudely interrupted.
What is everyone's thoughts on the current situation as it relates to looting and how things from certain countries end up in other countries where they shouldn't be? For example, the head of Hatshepsut being in the Munich museum and it needs to go back to Egypt. What are your general thoughts on that?
It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. I mean, and it's very, very difficult to get the things back. But it's horrible. I mean, it's like
Would you excuse me? I had to put it back.
How about these guys, these ISIS guys are going around destroying all these artifacts and things like that, which is, I think it's horrible. All these works of art that are from the antiquities. I mean, it's very, very scary and wrong.
Thank you for asking such an amazing question. I actually have a friend who a while ago sold an animated series of like the great-grandson of Indiana Jones now suddenly has to take his great-grandfather's collection of artifacts and return them to where they came from. And got into all these adventures doing that. Isn't that a cool idea?
So at the end of every episode, it's, "I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry."
But
Hi,
congratulations.
we're looking for the Jews. We have a box of yours. It's been used. I'm sorry. I will say this though, in defense of one Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, who created, I think, a wonderful franchise, is that in the very beginning of 3, when it's River Phoenix, and they're looking for the Cross of Coronado, and the guys are stealing it. They're looting it, and he says specifically, it belongs in a museum. So.
But he doesn't say what museum, just a museum.
It doesn't have to specify. Just say it belongs in his house. In a museum.
Yeah.
Well, that's where you would. All I'm saying is, I mean, I don't want to demonize Indiana Jones. I think that what you're talking about is a real problem. But I believe that for certain cultures, I What I like as a patron of a museum is being able to appreciate things that a culture that I would not be able to, like a Mennonite or not Mennonite. What am I looking at? Like sure, juxtaposition is a good one. But like you're talking about something of antiquity, being able to look at that in an environment that is presented by someone who really cares about the culture. I don't think we should go in stealing stuff, but I don't loot it. But I also appreciate the fact that there's a lot of stuff about cultures that we wouldn't know about if they weren't for museums.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jones.
Yes. Was it the craziest, random, or uncomfortable fan experience you guys ever had?
Right.
We say that. Some guy asked me to sign his chest, and he had hair like Robin Williams. I mean, it was like I needed a lawnmower to even get close to skin, and I was like,
He didn't want you to sign it, he wanted you to shave it.
What? He wanted me to shave him.
his chest.
Yes, and I would have. That was that. I don't get the whole signing of body parts thing. I don't get it. There's always risk of tattoos that follow, and I'm just like, you've stolen my identity, and it's on you permanently.
Was he wearing a cowboy hat?
Aren't they always?
And nothing else.
I was saying the other day that he signed somebody, and then they went ahead and had it tattooed.
Yeah.
Not me. Like the last week, I've seen somebody that who's like, "This is what I do, man," and he's got like 8 signatures of people that he holds in esteem, and I was his left shoulder. Somebody else got a picture of me and Joel from the last one together. I mean, if that's what you want to do, man, go for it. I understand the Joel. I don't understand the me. Don't get me on your body.
He's making you a lovely coat.
But as I said to Scott the other day, when he said that, I said, can you imagine that woman when she gets dementia and she's old, and she goes, who is Scott McNeil?
How about everybody else?
Yeah, I get tweets a lot about with my 15-year-old face on people's bodies. Sandbang around. It's like people love Rufio, so Rufio makes it on their body, which is cool. I guess, I send them t-shirts sometimes, like, you deserve a t-shirt for that. But I've got proposals from, fans or something for some crazy stuff, which I.
Like actual proposals, like marriage proposals?
Not marriage proposals, but proposals for other things. And I'm like, yo, not right here, right now. I can't accommodate that at the moment. Offering. Awesome.
Before would be presumptuous.
Yeah, but offering.
Here's what I'm gonna let you do.
Yeah, so I've got some offers that can be a little, in the moment, kind of, wow, really? You're dead serious? Yes. I'm like, okay, I can't do that right now.
Here's my room number.
Yeah, you see that show, Jimmy Kimmel, they always have that big tweet.
Yes. Oh, the mean tweets, yes. Yeah, I blocked someone this morning that was saying some bad things about Troy, so I just blocked him.
Here's my thing. If you insult me intelligently, I'm all about it. I might even like retweet it or favorite it, because I'm like, that's a very well executed thought. I am a dick. But when it's full of, like I've had a few of these, if anybody follows me on Twitter, if you, and don't do this on purpose just to get a retweet, because I'm gonna stop doing it after this conversation anyway, but if you like come at me with horrible grammatical and like spelling errors and misuse of words and stuff as your basis of your argument, you're showing your ass, and I'm just gonna put a spotlight on it and be like, this guy. But there's someone that started, and it's my favorite part, they started an anti-Troy fan group, which to me is just the irony in that is great. Are you fans of anti-Troy, or you're an anti-Troy fan? I don't know what that means. But Facebook made me aware of this, which was fantastic, and at the bottom of it, because it lists what the whole thing is and how many members, and it says, be the first one to like this. And I'm like, oh, that's appropriate, yeah. So that's fun.
Troy, I'm sorry, I started it. didn't want to tell you earlier, but I'm sorry.
Profile pic is lovely.
Yeah, can I go on what you were saying with the Twitter thing and like, please don't write to somebody you respect and spell everything wrong and use bad grammar. It doesn't look good.
Yeah, just take a second. That red line underneath the word means
Spell checker.
Something is wrong. That, yeah.
And using every emocon on your phone in it is also.
I feel like I'm following a treasure map or like looking at like some kind of hieroglyphic sometimes. That's the poop, but I don't know anything else. Smiley face. I saw an ice cream girl up there that was offering.
I just wanted to mention, Ellen Stern, you mentioned Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark.
I mentioned, sorry, we have competition. Spider-Man. Oh, Spider-Man, yeah.
Spider-Man, Turn Off the Dark, and because of the U2 connection there, like with the music, you know, I totally freaked out.
Yeah, our son is the drummer for the show for 5 years.
Yeah.
And he is in a band called Carney. And they opened for U2 in Canada, actually.
I'm obsessed
And anyhow, right now, Spider-Man closed, but he's now playing with Lion King.
I think he's playing next door, actually.
No, I don't think so. We've got competition.
What else? In the back, the guy that's looking like.
It sounds like the last con Ellen and I went to, there was a room next to us. They must have 20 people in the room in our hotel room next door, and they were like partying like this all night long till like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning every night.
It was actually 18.
See, he was there, and that's why I started this Twitter thing.
Coming up at 18. All right, brother, you had a question to the girls. Yeah, just getting up in front of you, or I'm sorry, whoever that is. I don't mean to offend. This guy was really tall.
Question for everybody.
Ready? Everyone at the same time? Favorite experience at the con?
Well, favorite experience at the con.
Yep, I'm
Ready?
try.
1, 2, 3.
Right
Oh shit, what are we saying right now?
Yeah.
Give me one more. 1, 2, 3.
My favorite was starting the anti-Troy tweet.
I expect it to grow in numbers. I want it to be like fish and loaves of bread.
Actually, I think my favorite was we took the red eye in on Thursday, and there was nobody in baggage claim, and I hadn't seen Dante yet. I knew he was on the plane, but I was like, I'll see him in baggage. So, you know, and like no sleep, maybe an hour and a half worth of sleep, and I just heard this, Ms. McGlynn, and I turned and I was like, oh good, my ride is here. And it was some guy saying, hi, can you sign this for me? And he had all this stuff for me to sign.
5:45 in the morning.
5:45 in the morning.
5:45 in the morning.
I was like, dude, what? Really?
That was eBay.
Yeah, they hit us up.
Everybody for eBay.
This is amazing.
This guy should work for the FBI or something.
I know. I was like, how did you know? And he said, oh, I have a friend at Delta. And I was like, I gotta call Delta because they're not supposed to give out.
You know, that guy's
passenger
actually with the IRS special unit.
That's right, production,
Tax fraud
distribution,
control
building. Control.
Incorporated.
Yeah.
Question over there.
Other than any places you need to do another movie with Kevin.
Yeah, actually, I produced another film for Kev and Justin Chon coming out soon called Man Up. So, yeah, that one he's cool. Did one with him, and then I just wrote a film for AJ Raphael called Red Roses. So hopefully that we're producing that by the end of the year. Thanks, man. Yo, yellow headband, what's up?
Since MetroCon is actually going to be 4 days next year, specifically Mr. Baker, are you planning on coming back?
Mr. Baker.
Maybe if I can. Yeah, I liked it. It was you guys are fun.
Are we awesome?
Yeah, you inspire awe.
Awesome.
Yeah, that'd be fun. The whole thing is, and Dante and I were talking about this earlier. Like, this is where we really get a chance to hang out. You know, we don't, and even still, you're busy and
you miss out.
You miss out. You know, so it's always dependent upon if we have work. Like, if I could, I love traveling. I love coming into new towns. I love meeting you guys and hanging out. And by the way, you guys have been incredible with your comments to all of us. When you tell us, that what we've done has in any way touched you or resonated with you, or it's gotten you through a hard time, or it's encouraged you, or that's like, yeah, we get paid to do what we do, but there's certain ways that we can't get paid in dollars, and that really, when that job is not worth that money that we're doing, but we're still doing it, it's the comments like that that really kind of inspire us to keep doing what we're doing, to know that what we do actually matters beyond just a monetary or a selfish level. So you guys have been incredibly kind. So yeah, I would absolutely love to come hang out with you guys again. Green. Yes, you're wearing green. Is that green or is it yellow?
Totally yellow. Neon.
Okay.
It's yes. This isn't really a question, it's more of like a comment, but this is to all of you. I really want to be a voice actor, and like that's always been my passion. Acting has always been something that I've really been interested in. And every single one of you has inspired me in some way, and I'm really grateful.
Case in point, thank you. Thank you so much. I would just like to apologize for the entire panel for inspiring you.
If you want advice on how to get into it, D. Bradley Baker, who is a genius voiceover actor, has this blog that he did, and just Google it, D. Bradley Baker, how to become a voice actor. It's the best advice you'll ever get. So please go online and check that out. D-E-E Bradley Baker. He's a genius.
He's like the next Frank Wilker. Yeah. If that can be said.
If you go on YouTube, hey,
White,
on YouTube,
White Glove in the back.
behind the voice actors. And Mary Elizabeth, Yuri Lorenthal, there's a bunch of voice actors, and they talk about it and stuff. I'm getting into it.
Right now.
Meeting all of you. There is something very, very special about this con, and I would like to say it, and it's to do with Mary Reese, who runs the con, because she runs such a tight ship. I was saying to her earlier, every time you go to a convention, there's always so many questions regarding travel, regarding schedule, and a million of other things that you have questions about. I had no questions. Everything was answered. She was so organized. And you know, it's kind of a domino thing because it's from the top all the way down. And the staff and all of you were just amazing. So thank you so very, very much.
Yeah, give the staff a big round of applause. And they do it for the love of helping you guys and all this. So they really have to Where's Addie? There's Addie. We love Addie. Addie's our...
I feel like we just said goodbye and now we're still walking in the same direction.
You know, it's funny when you have these panels that people always ask you about the dirt. You know, what was the weirdest thing you ever? What was the worst time? What was the? It's like, oh, you know what I mean? It's just kind of funny. What was the weirdest thing in the booth that ever happened? Who was not asking a question? Who was not asking? You in the back there, in the red.
Oh, what was the name of that YouTube video again?
Which one, the Roger Craig Smith or the D. Bradley Baker?
Roger.
Oh, Roger. I would go on Twitter, and it's at Roger Craig Smith. And just search through his posts, because he's been...
It was an hour ago we talked about that.
It's so brilliant, and there's 3 of them. They're just so brilliant.
Oh, that's mine. If you follow me on Twitter, it's the last tweet that I put out, and it's the last tweet that Roger put out too. It's the YouTube channel, has all 3 of them on there.
Yeah, it's at Roger. That's his.
Since then, he's been arrested by the IRS, unfortunately.
Yes.
So
Apparently, it was $7,000.
you, with your hand up with the white hair, yes.
I'm sorry, I had to go. I know, I did. Actually, I flitted. I can do my very best to, if at all possible. The only reason why I had to leave is I had to go check out my hotel room. It was weird.
Hendon?
It's a hard one.
Well, I don't do pictures. Sign something.
Hinda doesn't do pictures.
Nope.
She's incognito. She's running from the IRS.
I'm an undercover actress.
And I love that about you. It's so James Bond.
Cool. I'll tell you one of the other panels you talked about, growing your craft and getting. What have y'all done? I mean, how did y'all start out as far as education, or what did you do as far as education-wise if you started your craft, or what would you suggest people do?
I'll start. I was really lucky. I got to go to Performing Arts High School. I went to North Carolina School of the Arts for voice, for singing. And that was great. I've been working as an actress in theater since I was like 11. So, and I didn't go to college until much later, and then I went in English, which was the best show in town. I still recommend doing that later. But yeah, that was my school experience. What about you guys?
I went to college and got a BA in theater, and then I went to graduate school and got an MFA in acting, and then I came out and I did Shakespeare at the Globe, and I wanted to be on Star Trek, so I came to LA, and I was on Xena. I got hurt on New Zealand, and I started doing voiceover. But the best advice I can say is become an actor, because we don't just do voices. Hopefully, if we're good at what we do, we create characters and create, realistic, even in a cartoon world, characters. So take improv, do books on tape for the blind for free, and hone your craft. Become an actor.
Yeah, in the end, it's hours. It's the whole idea of having 10,000 hours to master something, and we've all done it, whether it be through acting classes, college, school. I mean, I went through 20 years of conservatory straight. Right, I didn't go to college, but I did that and went to art high school, Orange County High School of the Arts, OSHA. So a lot of people go, oh, you guys are so lucky to do what you do, and then you try to explain to young actors coming up, yeah, we are lucky what we do and we're passionate for what we do, but you have to also understand the hours and hours of training and time that went in, as well as the hours and hours that we spent in the booth, the hours and hours that you spent growing up on sets, and the sacrifices, if you're a young actor, and even as an old actor, the sacrifices that you have to make for your profession, which we've all made individually. There's a lot of fun and great times, but there's a lot of sacrifice you have to do to really get good at what you're doing. It's part of it.
Yep.
I started acting when I was 12 years old. I was doing plays, and then I continued through school, and I started doing, I was working with adults when I was a child, and then I majored in theater, as you did, Mary, and then I started doing television and films and plays, and I continue to study. I'll always be a student. When there's something I want to sharpen up on, I'll go take a class with my favorite coach. I've studied Shakespeare. I was at the Globe also. So my whole thing was, I wanted to be a Shakespearean actress. That's what I really wanted to do, and I think I've accomplished that. Nobody just does one thing. It's like, I forget who was saying it, but it's just a plethora of things that we do. We do voice acting, like Dante was saying, it's film and television and stage and voice, and it's all part of the same thing. All part of the same thing. And that's how I met Richard. I was in a theater company, and they didn't have a leading man for me, so they were holding auditions, and the theater company manager peeked her head out through the curtains after Richard had auditioned and said, "I think we found you a leading man." And she did.
That's true. I also started, I knew I wanted to be an actor, actually, and I went to University of Arizona and I was on a full drama scholarship, which was nice and paid for my schooling. Did a lot of theater there and did a lot of television there. I got my SAG card there on a TV series called Petrocelli. I don't know if any of you remember.
Yeah.
Well before your time. These guys were and did a lot of commercials there. And then I came out to LA. I sold my drum set and I had $300 in my pocket. And I drove to LA and that was about it. And I've done pretty well since then. And I started out doing theater and I did a lot of soaps and TV and some film work. And then I just actually, it was through Ellen that I kind of fell into this. She was doing a movie, and the guys who were doing the movie had another movie they were doing, and they wanted to voice it. And she said, "Can I bring my boyfriend at the time in for an audition?" So I went in there, and the guy said to me, "Have you done this before?" And I said, "Oh yes, I've done it 1,000,000 times, and I never did it before in my life." So I went in and I got the lead in this thing, and I took to it like a duck to water because I'm also a drummer, and there's a lot of rhythm to doing dubbing, and I use the acting and the rhythm, and it's very musical. And I think a lot of us that do dubbing as well as original animation and stuff, there's a rhythm to the dubbing, particularly because of the lip flaps and everything. So kind of fell into that. We started doing a lot of that stuff, and then from there we did Robotech and just started doing a bunch of stuff. And I started directing a bunch of stuff, and it's just been great. It's been gets better and better every year, and we still love to do on camera. We still love that Ellen does much more than I do. She does plays all the time. I don't know how she does. She just did this thing called Exit the King, which was done on Broadway recently, and it was like a mountain of dialogue. I don't even know how she memorized all this stuff, but it was incredible. And she just keeps her craft fresh, and that's what everybody has to do. You have to just keep working and doing and getting out there and putting yourself out there, and stuff will happen. If you have talent, you'll get work. Right, gang?
Yeah.
Wake up down there. I know it was a long story, I'm sorry. I wasn't even going to say anything. And where is Scott McNeil anyway?
Scott does. The IRS got him.
Got the glasses.
Yes, sir, yes.
All right. So if you guys were on the dodgeball team, who would be your first pick out of the VoiceActors?
Dodgeball or dollar ball?
Dodgeball.
Making sure.
Can you describe to me dollar ball?
Did you do Jello shots before you came here? Just checking.
Well, who's fast and
Starting from stage.
He also has a thing with heights.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's tall as hell.
The irony.
Mine would be the roller coaster, always roller coasters. Faster the better. The more turns, the better. Love it. Every time.
Growing up, I used to love to go on this ride in the carnival called Gravitron. It was like the thing that spun you, and you stick it against the wall, and then you could turn upside down. I don't know why I dug that, but I liked that.
Yeah, what's that thing that's like in the air and it swings and you're swinging and your legs are kicking and you're
Swing.
Yeah,
it's a swing.
I can't talk. New Jersey. I'm having a seizure.
On the boardwalk in New Jersey.
Flying wave, that sounds nice. Yeah, I'll do that.
No, that's it. You can fly. Flying chance.
Flying chair. That makes
Flying
sense.
chance.
How would you?
Flying lounge chair.
My rides at carnivals do not happen. I was a little kid and I was on the Hammer with my brother. You know, that's that thing where it's got a thing here, a thing here. Well, anyhow, it suddenly stopped and my brother and I were up in the air, like hanging. Oh no, we were upside.
Uncle Iroh was my favorite character, and so this is about his voice actor and more his original. Were you close with Mako, and what was it like in the studio?
Totally. I mean, Mako really was like Uncle Iroh to me. And in my life, he's played my father and my uncle several times in my career, I think 3 or 4 times, since I was really young. And just was a blessing just to have in my life, and was that older actor that would tell me about things, and I can ask him questions just like Uncle Iroh, and he was that wise man. My whole memory of coming to Hollywood, I think my first big film I did was called Perfect Weapon, and he played my uncle. And so from that point on, he's been my father and uncle and all kinds of stuff. So he was just that guy. So it was really emotional to work with him on his last project, and he's taught me a lot. Everything I'm doing for the Asian American community now is really inspired by Mako, what he's done the generation before me. So thanks.
Yeah.
say is that I actually talked to you guys yesterday. I was the Joker in the back of the room. And so I just want to say this to Troy, is that yesterday I asked you about taking over from Mark Hamill, and this is not really a question, it's more of a comment, but hold on.
Somebody have their phone on while listening to music?
Don't shoot them. We just want to know where it's coming from. Jumped up and was like, I got it. So use the comment.
But it was that, like I said, I asked you about Mark Hamill yesterday, and taking over. But growing up as a kid, it was always, that was my first Batman show. It was him as the Joker, and so, like you said, he was the Joker for 20 years. So everything I heard was Mark Hamill, maybe one other thing. And then so when you took over in Arkham Origins, I did not know that. Like, I thought I was still Mark Hamill.
Thanks, man.
I found that out like maybe 2 months ago when I was listening to Batman's voice again. I was like, that's not Kevin Conroy. And I was
It's
like,
Roger Craig
what
Smith.
the? You and I had to say that I think that you're a fantastic Joker, that you still sound like you're containing that Mark Hamill legacy, and I just have, thank you, man.
Thank you, dude. I really appreciate that. That means a lot.
Well, guys, unfortunately we are out of time. Thank you so much for making our con an amazing experience. We really, really
Thank you, MetroCon.
Woo!